selfish with the intro music.
I'm sorry. It's for me, honestly. I play these things for my immersion.
I just listen to this on repeat all the time.
Yep, exactly. Where is... Oh, there he is. Okay. Have a second. I just gotta save this progress that I made on our little project here.
I may cut my camera. I am still sitting right here.
Understood.
I may run
put that away, because we are in the wonderful, wonderful city of Westrunn. Westrunn. Okay, everybody, welcome back. So, it is the 18th of Westrunn. You guys have decided to ally yourself with one of the locals, a novice. Oh, where is she? A novice of the League of Miracles, a spellwright by the name of Honor Kinbari, a tiefling with white skin, red horns, and red eyes, who seems to want to do good stuff for the town, and seems to be on top of this little plains cow issue.
And who has a crush on Yvaine? Ooh.
And who maybe you don't know. Yeah, so having allied with this new character, you guys decided to undertake this little problem for the local Ranchers Guild, that plains cows have been disappearing over and over again. The party, through great investigation, was able to find a couple of holes in the ground that were sort of acid burned around the side, about 5 feet wide. And rather than going into those holes like I had planned, you all decided to do something much more prudent, which was to be strategical and maybe find the main hive before delving into the earth onto their grounds, which was, in fairness, a very strategical move. Didn't expect it. And you guys, by utilizing, very creatively utilizing Find Familiar, utilizing red, I believe, you were able to sort of follow these tunnels to the northern Bramblewood. I got it right. You followed it north into the Bramblewood until, as the sun went down, you were Red was confronted in the tunnels by 2 onkegs that went tearing by. You raced back to the ranches. You went to the nearest sort of, plains cow herd out to pasture in the night, and you asked, for them to help you out. Onkegs came up and attacked, killed a plains cow, tried to take it into the earth, but with the help of Honor and with all of your valor and your abilities to dash, you managed to get there in time to confront the 2 onkegs and slay them. And with that, the problem was definitely solved. No more issues whatsoever, if Zarvolg is to be believed. But unfortunately, the rest of the party seemed to outweigh that perspective and thought, maybe we ought to be extra careful and sure. And yeah, rip Larry the Bank. That's right. Larry is no more. But luckily enough, well, not, all of you decided, in honor and agreement, that it might be best to, do a little research, investigate, see if these onkegs truly have been defeated or not, as some information that Honor was able to divine through some of her wizarding divination powers, that their behavior had been a little unusual, and their behavior a little more intelligent than what onkegs are believed to be capable of. So with that, the party is going to stay in Westrunn and see if they can't hunt down the rest of these bugs, go on a little more of a bug hunt. And it seems that Yvaine and Honor are going to hit up the libraries. But that's for tomorrow, which is now today, as you have all sustained a long rest without issue.
Oh, thank you, DM.
There ain't no Jesus here. It's just Bahamut.
Thank Bahamut.
He's Bahamut.
I don't know who that there Jesus person is, but let me tell you about Bahamut.
let me tell you about our Lord and Savior, the Platinum Dragon. Incredible. You all wake up. You yawn blissfully as the light comes in the window, and you find yourselves all once more within this wonderful, wonderful inn here in Westrunn that has a name that I'm about to tell you.
Sunfish.
A name, what?
Sun-kissed inn?
Yeah, the sun-kissed inn. Fuck. The sun-kissed inn you all find yourselves in. I have it here. Yeah. The sun-kissed inn. And lo and behold, maybe there's a reason for that. It's a little bit of a tall-story building, and the sun just seems to gleam in over the walls of Westrunn, and sort of kiss you in the cheek as you arise in this warm autumn day. As you look out the window, you would indeed see that the little bits of yellow and little bits of orange are starting to begin to take the tips of different trees outside, and a little bit of chill is starting to take the air as warmth is beginning to be left behind and the seasons are beginning to turn. But what would you like to do?
Nobody?
Well, I thought the plan was you were going to go with Honor to the library,
Yeah, that's what we want to see, the library.
and the rest of us were going to go to the armor and to Gilmore's
Yes.
to check out what the Anaheg full plate is going to run us, and what the added bits and bobs are going to need for a magical bag, and perhaps something that will allow me to keep some stuff on ice, utilizing the two very durable stomachy sack type deals from our pile of bugs, and probably try to sell off the 250 pounds of meat that we have, or whatever it actually is, but it was a lot.
222. 222 pounds of meat, which would make 55 rations. Sorry.
Lots and lots of meat.
Do we want to arrange a time where we meet up after we're done?
How long do you plan on being at the library?
I don't know how long it'll take me to go and find the information on the ankegs.
Well, why don't we just meet back here for dinner and plan a day down the town in Westrunn?
All right. See you for dinner. Yvaine will go to the innkeep and ask either if they have a baker or if there's a bakery in town.
Absolutely. Very good questions. Very good questions. Yeah, you head there. Where are you? Yeah, you talk to Ulf, the big old, the big, very old orc guy that he is. He says, "Are you looking for a bakery?"
Well, I pick up a sweet roll or two.
Of course, of course. Well, if you just go down the street, and he's going to, he'll say, well, we're not a bakery here, but we do have pastries and stuff that we make in the morning. If you're interested, don't have to go too far.
Yes.
All right. Well, grab a seat. We can make you some sweet rolls, perhaps. And as this is a comfortable inn, I will say, and you just want the, you just want like a little sweet roll.
Yeah, just 2 sweet rolls to go.
2 sweet rolls. 2 sweet rolls to go. He's gonna say, oh, that's the stuff. Meals is comfortable. He'll charge you 8 silver pieces for the 2 sweet rolls.
Take them.
All right. He'll have them baked up for you, and hand it off. And there's fresh, delicious cinnamon rolls.
Put on my happy.
Yep.
And go to the library.
Happy sort of like wiggles. Is Happy a he or a she? I forget.
Happy's a he.
Oh yeah, Happy's a he. Yeah, Happy sort of like wiggles his nose and kind of like, sort of like paws at your head and like looking down at the sweet rolls.
I'll feed him little bites as I'm walking. I'm not gonna have any of mine yet, but I'm gonna.
Happy looks happy. And yep, your little rabbit unicorn guinea pig hamster is very happy, and just sort of sits on your head like full thumper style, like feet out, in front of it, and just like nomming. And yeah, you make your way down the street happily. I believe you were told to meet at the wonderful West Hall Academy. I believe that is where Honor originally asked you to meet.
I had thought we were meeting at the reserve. So
That's right, the reserve. I knew it was one or the other. Yep, she said the reserve. You're right. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, you find your way to this landmark. It's tall. It's a very, very tall building. It's not like a clock tower, but has a similar structure to it. So there's no clock at the very top. But it looks more like a house of worship than an actual library as you approach it. And you see very much trying to make herself as out of the way as possible, sort of leaned up against the wall, sort of gripping her staff close and looking a little, like Honor. You see Honor just sort of waiting here in the early morning as people make their way to work.
I'll pop on up to her and hand her the cinnamon and I'll say, "What's your breakfast?"
Yeah, you walking down the street, you see that she kind of like, sort of like excitedly like kind of waves across, and you walk up and hand her a sweet and go, "Well, you got me a sweet roll. That's well, thank you. That's very kind of you. I feel silly now. I didn't get you anything."
It's always, you can think better when you've had a bit of something in your stomach. So I thought we could have a bite of breakfast as we walk into the reserve.
That's, well, thank you. That's very nice of you. Okay. Well, all right. Thank you. Oh, all right. Let's go inside. Okay. Very bashfully.
Yvaine will kind of eat hers and kind of do the bite for me.
Yep, fight for Happy. And you'll notice, like, Happy is an endless stomach. Like, Happy just keeps eating, and like, you're like, he's gonna get a sore stomach, but no, he just keeps putting it away. You get the sense if you don't know the limit there, but Happy's probably ate more than half his size already, I would say, in the sweet roll. And he looks happy as can be. But anyway, you walk in to this wonderful, wonderful place. I want to get the music just right. So have a second here.
What does romantic library music sound like?
So I'll put that in here. Almost cathedral. Oops. Ooh, that's cool. I've got a track called Medieval Library. I'm sure that'll do just perfect. All right, let's see. See if I can get my balance right. Trying to make a quiet library and make a lot of sound. No, I think I'm just gonna stick with the library music. Perfect. Okay, I like this. Okay, you walk in to the Cobalt Reserve of Westrunn. It is a vast repository that, again, even in the interior, sort of accommodating this, looks more like a house of worship than an actual library. Perhaps to your surprise, as you maybe don't know a lot about the Cobalt Soul. We don't know, but anyways, it looks like a big, beautiful cathedral, but the walls are lined with books. A true landmark as far as large houses of knowledge go here in Exandria. Beautiful, large place established. You see monks walking here and there in their cobalt blue regalia. You see people from the public wandering through. The ceiling is up and high and massive. You can very much think of it almost like, minus the Gothic styles, like a cathedral, almost like a Christian cathedral in its size and its stained glass windows that seem to depict this sort of amorphous face with three eyes here and there, but just well, as far as an interior goes, skyscraping bookshelves that just line the walls full and whole with lines and lines of tables and chairs for people to study, and again, the monks going here and there. It's the largest repository of knowledge that you have ever seen by far. Absolutely takes it out of the park. You've never seen so many books in one place in your entire life, nor dreamed of this many.
Yeah, I imagine Yvaine's just like having a Beauty and the Beast moment when Belle first saw Beast's life. Like I feel like that's probably what she's experiencing right now.
Absolutely. And you're kind of like have this starstruck moment as you see like the beautiful morning lights of Westrunn sort of emulated through the stained glass windows, sort of lighting up all of the many books and scrolls along the wall, and the many scholars walking here and there. Perhaps in a different life you were a scholar yourself, and this might just be where you might have found yourself. And you, as you find yourself there, you kind of see like Honor with a sweet roll in one hand and their staff in the other, just kind of like looking at you and just sort of like smiling, and you get the sense that she maybe had a similar experience in her life and is sort of vicariously enjoying your amazement.
Library in Terra is connected to the school. They probably only have 100 books. I didn't even know this many books actually existed. Like, in exam. Much less all here.
Well, that's it's a sight to be sure, but I have to say this probably isn't even half the books in all of Exandria, in all of Tal'Dorei. But it's a lot of them.
How are we going to find the books on Unkegs? There's quite a lot of them. Do you have a spell to locate it or something?
I got spells, but I find the scholars here are mighty kind, and they could help us out. And if we can't find anything here, we can always go to somewhere else, like West Hall Academy or the College of the Savvy, or somewhere else, perhaps.
All right. So, to find a scholar then?
Well, let's take a look. And you guys can go here and there and ask various scholars. Just half a moment. I'm just making sure I have all my information spread before me. There we go. So you walk around, and Honor is going to sort of like wave down one of the curators here. Oh, excuse me, one of the monks here. And they stop and they say, "Oh, Miss Kinembari, it's good to see you. What can we do for you?" He goes, "Oh, we're hoping to get some help. We were looking for a couple of books." And he says, "But by all means," and he'll begin to sort of like, she sort of calls him over more for your benefit, as she's probably been in here more than a couple times. It says, "Well, there's many, what is it that you're looking for exactly?"
Well, we're looking for information on ankegs, actually. There's a bit of an ankeg problem, and they're taking out some of the plains cows. We think there may be a hive, and we were looking maybe for any information on their social structures, if they have any weaknesses that make them a little easier to kill. They really have taken quite a lot of cows.
Well, that's interesting to hear. We'll have to document that. But if you're looking for creatures in the nature of variety, you'll want to that section over there. And please do take care. As he sort of like looks at this gentleman, looks at Honor, who's holding a pastry. He says, "Please do not mark the books." She goes, "Oh, what? Oh, sorry. I know. Of course, I'll promise. Won't be a problem." He goes, "Very well. But please take a look." And he just sort of gestures, and he'll wander off. And Honor's like, all right, let's get to work. Happy will sort of hop to the ground and sort of bounce around like after you and make mischief, but not too much mischief, sort of sniffing books or nibbling at people's toes. And they're like, what is that? And walking away. Yeah, so if you're wanting to find out some information utilizing the public library of the Kobold Reserve here, you can make me a history check. You can make it at advantage, or you can have Honor roll her own. After an hour of study, you get to make this check.
You know what? Let's let Honor roll her own, and then I will roll one. You said history?
That's right.
Yvaine's dice. Which was a good idea, because that's going to be a 17.
Ooh, good job. And she rolls pretty well herself. She sits there and like eats her sweet roll, and she kind of eats it like a little nervously, a little quickly, because it's like, okay, I'm supposed to be here to help, but I gotta like, so she kind of eats it quickly, and then she like prestidigitates the table in her hands, and then she comes over and starts pulling books, and the two of you pull a couple of books, and you sit down for about an hour, and with that history check, you are going to learn about Onkegs. You're gonna learn information. Let's see. You learn that the Onkegs' most powerful tool and weapon is their mandibles, which they use to dig winding tunnels deep beneath the ground. When it hunts, an Onkeg burrows upward, waiting below the surface until its antenna detects movement from above. They use their antenna to sense tremors within the earth, thus developing a sense known as tremor sense by naturalists and zoologists. After it senses it, it bursts from the earth and seizes its prey in its mandibles, crushing and grinding while it secretes acid digestive enzymes over it. Some of your party members may have actually experienced this sensation. It is not pleasant. These enzymes help dissolve a victim for easy swallowing, but the Onkeg can also squirt acid to take down foes in a line, which similarly your allies might have experienced previously. They're known to be a bane to farmers and such. Fields and forests are where they typically dwell. They do receive a certain portion of their nutrients from soil through which they burrow, but they must supplement their diet with fresh meat. So pastures that are teeming with grazing livestock, such as here in Westrunn, and of course forests, rife with game, are the Onkeg's primary hunting grounds. Onkegs are thus the bane of farmers and rangers everywhere. Their earthen tunnels, as it burrows into the earth, the Onkeg leaves a narrow, partially collapsed tunnel in its wake. In these tunnels, one might find the remnants of a molded Onkeg chitin, hatching Onkeg eggs, or grisly remains of Onkeg victims, including coins or other treasures scattered during the creature's attack. So you're going to find some inconsistencies with your experience and the knowledge that you've gained. The first and foremost is that the tunnels, some of the tunnels, yes, partially collapsed, but other ones seem a little bit more better established to be reused, which isn't usually the Onkeg's MO. They don't really reuse tunnels. They just kind of burrow in the direction they want to go, like sort of wandering across the plains, except they wander underground, really. Honor would remark, well, they have if we were to use the tunnels and their distance, it seems that they only can really sense about 60 to 50 feet apart. So it's strange they would do a 2-level tunneling system. That seems a little bit beyond what Onkegs are known for. And their tunnels were a little bit more established, and they weren't full with remains either. They seemed to take them and pull them away. They didn't consume them in the tunnels. They've taken them somewhere. So there's some inconsistencies with how their burrowing works and what we've been experiencing.
You mentioned yesterday that you thought there might be an outside influence. Is there any... Sometimes in the wild, either like a dominant group will come in and subordinate another, like grasshoppers and ants and such. So do you think perhaps there is an outside group or an outside entity that is affecting them and making their behaviors different?
I mean, it's I would say it's probably what's going on. I mean, they didn't pick up a book and read it, you know? They're not, they didn't just learn about tunneling better. So there might be very well some outside influence, but I have no idea what that would be. I mean, um, I have no idea. The books here certainly don't tell, and it's actually the first time I've actually met an Onkeg. So, I don't know what that outside influence would be, but something's making them a little smarter and a little bit more of a, I guess, I don't know. They're bringing their prey somewhere because when Red was in the tunnels, there wasn't any remains. They just dragged the creature back, presumably, back into the Bramblewood, wherever they were coming from. And if they were, and that's the thing too, is if they're if they came from the Bramblewood, and even if they had a colony, which apparently is outside of what Onkegs do, why wouldn't they just hunt in the Bramblewood? I mean, the Bramblewood's full of game, from what I've been told.
And there would be plenty of large game, elk, moose.
I have.
And it's been summer, which means all of those animals would have been plentiful. It's not like the winter where they're more scarce.
I agree. It doesn't make much sense. Don't make much sense why they'd be traveling all the way over here to the dangers of where Westrunn and we are and people are. Maybe there's something wrong with the forest. Maybe there's, I mean, I'm no ranger or druid or anything, but maybe there's something with nature going on out there.
All right. Maybe worth checking out.
We could, I think we've kind of reached the end of what we can learn here, but from the public stores anyway, but maybe there's more to be learned. I don't know.
All right, Adoria. When you say public stores, it suggests they are private stores. That would also suggest perhaps you had a way to get into them?
I don't have a way to get into them, but the Cobalt Reserve, they do have private archives that aren't open to the public. But there are also other centers of learning around here. Either the College of the Savvy or Westrunn Academy. I don't really... I mean, I can definitely get us into the College of the Savvy. I have a really good friend there, but Westrunn Academy is a little harder to get into when you're not a student. I might have a friend, but we don't... not really.
We got a fair amount of information, and I think I may have a way to locate the colony. That is not a promise. This could fail spectacularly, and if it does, it won't hurt anything. But if it works, it might help us a bit. Let's go check out the College of Savvy, and if they have something, great. But if not, we could put our heads together, plan, and be ready to go back in.
Okay, all right.
I had a question. Do you ever bring your cat with you?
I have a cat?
It was the giant purple cat that was working with you, your friend.
Oh my yeah, yes, no, I do have an Atronach. That's what they're called. They're called Atronach.
Oh, I've never seen the winged cat before.
It does kind of look like a cat now that you mention it. But yeah, I have one. He's a good one, but I'm not really supposed to use it for anything outside of League of Miracle business. But yeah, I have one.
Oh no, I just thought that maybe he and Happy could go on a play date.
Oh sure, I've never. Okay, sure, that sounds interesting. Like, yeah, why not? You want to meet my Ardranok, then?
Yeah, I've never met one. He was pretty stunning, and I didn't realize that a cat could do all that, you know, with making buildings and such. It's quite extraordinary. But the college fest?
Sure, sure. The College of the Savvy. I got to meet my friend. I know where he'll. I think I know where. Gotta have to track him down though. He's performing.
All right, well, lead the way.
All right. Okay. Follow me. And you guys leave the Cobalt Reserve behind. A couple monks come to collect your books and put them away.
Is it
Make your way.
appropriate to we tip the monks for their service?
Well, it is
That-
a holy place, so you can leave a little, pittance.
Yeah,
She
I'll
kind
leave
of
it.
drops a couple silvers into, like, as you're on their way out, there's a alms box, and she drops a couple silvers. She goes, okay, so, you tell me, where do you think the best place in the city is to find a bard?
Well, I suppose there would be two places: a seedy tavern or a posh one.
Taverns it is. Okay, let's go. And you guys kind of walk down the street. Honor's a little quiet. She walked down the street. She's kind of like looking around. She's a little, and she says, "So, tell me about I want to just confront the rabbit in the room. Your rabbit's very pointy and
I will
special."
pick Happy up and hand him to her and say, Happy is an almirage, and he's a fey beastie, and he's quite wise, and he's my friend. And when I almost got eaten in the woods, he helped get me out. And he's been my friend ever since.
And
Oh,
she kind
and
of
he
like,
made this, and she pulls out the Echo Stone. Check it out. Happy is the bestest bunny ever. Like, all right, now squeeze it twice.
she's got a rabbit in this hand with a staff sticking out of her arm, and she's got the stone. She squeezes it twice and it glows. She goes, "Oh,
You made
That's-
that.
you made that. It's a wow. She made a glowing rock. It's pretty cool."
But when she squeezes it twice, it played what I just recorded into it.
Oh, gotcha. So she does it and say, "Squeeze it twice, squeeze it twice." She goes, "Whoa, that's your rabbit made this?
This
Are you
one-
sure she's a rabbit or he's a rabbit? I mean, that's incredible. Never heard of a rabbit making magic items before."
Well, technically he's an almirage, and I think he's actually like a fey rabbit.
Like a fey rabbit. You're a bit of a mystery, Yvaine. You should.
I should
Wow.
probably look him up in the library. I bet they know about him there.
I mean, we could go back sometime if you wanted to.
I would like that. There's many things I want to learn,
Okay.
and
I'm
you
gonna
seem
give you
like
all
you're
your
really
things.
good
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I'll put the bunny back on my head. Listen, the bunny's been keeping the head warm since, I got the business into some radiant energy.
That's true. She goes, "Yeah, we could go back and take a look there." And I admit, I don't know many druids who are as interested in books as you are. I mean, I don't know many druids to start with, but I didn't think them the booky type.
I suppose I didn't think myself the bookie type either, but when I left Terra, I thought I was a ranger. And then I went through the woods and almost gotten eaten by dire wolves, and there were flying snakes and giant snakes and a couple of giant. It was awful. But when I came out, I could do things, and she'll like pull one hand out and like make she's gonna make like a lily pad flower, like the kind they had in the swamp. Hand it to her, said like, I learned how to do that.
She kind of takes the flower from you. She blushes a little bit. Little to her knowledge. And she goes, "Wow, yeah, you're a very talented person, Yvaine. A lot of mystery."
I can't do work like you do. The Rift workers do at Terra. put together rocks and, keep the elements from encroaching on Alexandria. But
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that it's just I don't know much about the Ashari, admittedly.
Oh, well, long time ago, around, all right, like my history's not great, but maybe around the Divergence, there were places in Alexandria where the plains were kind of thin, and we would have interlopers from the elemental plane of earth, or like in Terra, or the elemental plane of fire over in Pyra. And so the Ashari are dedicated to make sure that they stay in their home instead of coming into ours. Usually it's not a big thing. The last time there was a really big deal in Terra was about 40 years ago, and I wasn't there for it, but I hear it's quite a shindig. And by shindig, I mean a lot of earthquakes. It's sort of a thing.
Oh. That's not good, I suppose. I admit. Sorry to hear that.
It's just what we do. Like, all right, so you're from here, and some really bad things happened about 20 years ago, and people like the League of Miracles, they've come in and they've rebuilt, right? And in some ways,
Yes,
you're protecting this place. And that's what the Ashari do. We protect Alexandria from the rifts, but same sort of thing, just we're up in the mountains and it's not so big, with amazing libraries and terribly interesting people. Just sort of small, humble place.
It's I heard a little bit about it, but it's definitely a different change. I mean, the League of Miracles were sort of mercenary builders, but your people just sort of protect to protect. I think that's it's a very good way of living. Very honorable goal.
Pays the bills, I suppose. And actually, it can be a lot of fun.
Fair enough. All right. I'm gonna have Honor roll a little check, see if she can find her friend. She's not gonna succeed. We're gonna go to somebody else as you guys are gonna wander around and chit chat as you guys poke your heads in and out of different taverns here and there. But I want to see what other people are up to today. As we're gonna say about 2 hours will pass with Yvaine and Honor as they sort of go through the Cobalt Soul Reserve, go hunting down Honor's contacts in the College of the Savvy. Is there anything Zarvolg, Ember, or Finch? I get up to a Westrunn.
I think maybe we said we were gonna go to Gilmore's maybe and get a estimate on some goodies.
Well, I think we have at least 3 stops to make.
Yeah.
I think the biggest bulk stop is to where the hell do we unload 200 pounds of that?
Oh, for sure.
The second stop probably ought to be the armorer, so we can get an idea ballpark price on what the plate armor is going to run us.
You're right. Yeah, let's handle the meat first. Let's get that.
And then we're down to really light stuff, and that's much easier. That way, we're not trekking a cart all the way to Gilmore's.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Fantastic. Where first? Where to first?
The big auction place whose name eludes me. I have to scroll up.
No worries.
The something exchange.
The Exandrian Exchange.
Because that sounds like a spot where you could probably parlay this kind of volume into, put it on consignment or something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys make your way to the market ward, and you go back to that place that you found. Um, you find the most significant building in the whole ward, the massive marble-walled auction house, filled with hundreds of vendors hawking their rare and unusual wares, the Exandria Exchange. You wander on inside if you want to try and find somebody who's willing to purchase this meat from you. It sounded like Ember and Finch were tag teaming for this one, or Zarvolg, are you there?
Yeah.
Nope. Okay, so you two, you want to look for someone to purchase your stuff. There'll be no difficulty finding different vendors, but let's make a persuasion check to see if we can find somebody who's willing to give you a decent price.
I'm gonna spend my inspiration because I really don't want to win.
No problem.
I got 14 on the dice plus 4, so 18.
16 for me.
Okay. So let me get those again. Ember got 16. Finch, what'd you get?
18.
18. You guys go looking around. People really only want to pay you, like. I gotta check something here. Just want to make sure I'm getting all my facts straight. The people around here aren't, and just let me have the amount of meat you have.
55 rations worth. It's like 222 pounds, something like that.
225 pounds.
Yep.
People around here only really want to give you like 2 silver, like a silver a ration's worth. People are like, or actually, okay, I take it back. Some people are like, what kind of meat is this? And because you guys persuade really well, you sort of maybe go like sort of go around the sides about the fact this is monstrous bug meat. And you're like, well, like, what kind of meat do you think it is? And you guys are very sort of smooth operators. But you do find somebody. Giant lobster, man. It's like, how did you get lobster? It looks almost about a day old. How'd you get lobster out here? And you guys just, you finagle and haggle and make sure you're not specifically lying, but also maybe not fully portraying the truth. And with a 15 and an 18, you guys are going to, because they're not really sure the source of the meat and the fact that it is a little old. It is a little, that's not really the problem. It is a little gamey and tasteless, and they don't exactly know where it came from nor necessarily trust it. They will give you, they're gonna do a little bit better than the original 1 silver per 2 pounds. We'll see you mark it up to, I can give you the full 5 though, because this is a little unusual. They're gonna give you 3 silver for 2 pounds each. That's the best price you can find with your rolls. So that's gonna end up being that's gonna end up being 11 gold pieces for the everything.
That sounds like a win to me.
I'd say it's 11 gold pieces we didn't have.
Hopefully it'll keep somebody from starving today.
Yeah.
Yeah, one guy just takes all the meat. He hands you a small bag of 11 gold pieces, a small loan of $1 million, and you guys are a little more flush than you were before.
Fantastic.
You want to go find an armor?
Yep, that's the next stop.
Okay. half a moment. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything in my lore here. That is not where I need to be. What the hell? Sorry, guys, half a moment. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're not worried about that. Okay. You guys go wandering about, and even here, you're able to find... They're vendors, they're not really craftsmen, but you guys are looking for craftsmen. So you leave the Exandrian Exchange behind, and you do happen to find a nearby smithy. I'm gonna get the... I'm gonna make the identity of this individual. Okay. Okay, this is very interesting. Ooh. Let me have a moment, because I think we're gonna have some fun here. You go up to this one smithy, and you hear the sound of like these like weird sounds coming from this smithy, and you kind of come around the side, and you see that the proprietor is a half giant, just big, bulky, big half giant man, banging away, and he has about in his company much smaller but very large humanoid hyena-like creatures who seem to be working in the smithy as well. They look around with that same sort of like twitchiness of like a plainer sort of like a plain hyena. They're big, broad, bulky, thick necks, spotted, and they sort of yip at each other and speak to each other in a strange language you've never heard before. But are all dressed like smiths and are working away, plying the trade. This big giant sort of looks at you all and goes, "All right, well, what can I do for it? Welcome to me smithy."
I will take what we harvested, and I will say so we've come into some materials, and we wanted to bring it to an expert to see what we could have crafted with this, and get your expert opinion on that. Yes, there you go.
All right. All right, let me take a look here. He takes it from you.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of looks at it and goes, "Well, this is, I'll admit this is pretty interesting." And he looks it over.
We've had a pretty interesting time.
I suppose so. You want me to make something out of this, I assume?
Yeah.
It's strong, it's hardy, it protects you from battle.
Yeah, preferably armor if possible. What's your evaluation though?
Well, I'll do all kinds of armoring. I can make just about anything you want out of this. It depends on how much gold you're willing to spend. I can make a couple of suits out of these things. I could probably, don't mean to upsell you or nothing, but I could probably make a pretty fine set of plate with this.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. What would the cost of that be in total for the materials that we brought, plus, your time?
Well, I'll be fair. You brought me the materials themselves, so I'll be sure to make that clear. 50. I've got to work on it. That'll be about how long will it take to make this armor? Oh, that's crazy. So it could maybe take about 15 days to make, so I'd pop on an extra 30 gold for glasses. So the 780 gold pieces I could have this made in about 15 days. If you wanted me to put it to the front of the line for an extra fee, I could, for an extra 60 goals, I could do it in half the time.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. I am going to think on that for a little bit because in true transparency, I don't have that kind of gold at the moment, but I appreciate I feel like your quote is fair. I just need to think about how I would be able to come up with the rest of the money that I don't currently have right now.
That's perfectly fair, I understand. There's a lot outside your price range. I could probably make some cheaper sets of armor out of it.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll think on that. I want to kind of talk to my adventuring party a little bit, see what we need, what makes the most sense, and then maybe I get back to you. What else? Could you just give us a quote on like some other things that you can make so we can make the best decision?
Sure, sure. It was about £30 of this, so if you wanted, I can make you two sets of breastplate out of it.
I think it was 60 pounds.
£60 total. I mean, each separate one is about
Got it.
£30. It seems, if I was to put it on my scale here. So, yeah, my big scale over here. So I can make you anything as long as it's under the £30 markup. I can make you breastplate. I can make you two sets of breastplate. I can make you two sets of chain shirts. We can mix and match there. Chain shirts pretty cheap, 50 gold pieces. So I can make that probably for you at because you bought the materials. Again, it depends. Well, tell me what your price range is, and I'll tell you what I can do for you.
That's kind of, I'll say, a little hard right now. Is there anything that you would be willing to do or help that you would need around here that would help reduce the cost of plate armor?
Interesting question.
Because I respect your time and your craft. I'm not trying to insult that. I just,
No, I'll appreciate full and wholeheartedly. Let me roll a little dice to see if he does.
What did the dice say?
The dice, he says, "Oh, I'm afraid to say I don't have much for myself that needs doing. I mean, you could you try and pick up some work around town, and try and if you're adventuring, make some more gold, perhaps. I know there's there might be more work to do around town. I haven't heard of anything, though, I'm afraid. I respect your tenacity. I just don't have much to be done. I've got all my workers here."
That's fair.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If we were to provide you with, say, another batch of raw material, would that raw material be sufficient to exchange? You'd get one suit of armor for sale. You could mark it up, part it down however you want, and we would get the plate armor my companion is looking for.
Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Yeah, I'll make you a deal. If you bring me 4 more of these, I'll make you the plate free.
We'll have to see what we can come up with.
All right. All right. Very well. Remember, I'm still coming to. My name's Vozak. I ask around town. I'm a man of my word. I'm a Goliath of my word. That was my mistake. Misraced myself. Misraced myself. But I'm Volzak, ask around town, man of my word. You bring back 4 more, I'll make you the plate for free.
That sounds good.
I'll tell you what. In parlance, we don't know if there are more. We suspect that there are.
That's fair.
But we don't know how many. If we can put this plate in queue, I will also put 100 gold deposit in. If we come back with 4 sets, then you can just hand me the deposit back. If not, then we will continue to pay in and until this is appropriately resolved.
All right, let me get this straight. You want to give me 100 gold pieces to start making the armor and trust that you'll bring me more of the chitin to complete our deal. If you do, I give you the 100 gold back in the plate. If you don't, keep the plate.
Yeah.
And the gold.
That way you'll have an idea of what we're worth.
Make me a persuasion check.
18.
18. He says, I admit, it's an interesting proposition. You know what? I think I'll take you up on that. If you think that you could bring me more of this chitin, then I'll be willing to hand it over. If not, it'd be an interesting thing to have in the shop to hand out to somebody for sure. Got yourself a deal there. What were your names?
Oh, we're the Aurora Concordant. My name's Ember. This is Finch.
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
The
Finch.
silent man in the corner is Zarvolg.
I believe Zarvolg's doing his own thing today. But he goes, all right, hand over the 100 gold and the chitin. Get to work on it, but I will say, this is only a one-time offer. If you bring me another 6 chitin, I'm only interested in this particular deal right here, right now. I don't want too much of it. Chitin itself isn't worth much. It's only worth about a gold, and I'm not sure how well the plate will actually sell. So this is a bit of a business investment on my side of things. So, this deal, this one time.
That's perfectly fine.
All right. And he will accept the plate from you, and if you guys hand over 100 gold pieces, he's gonna sort of like say something behind him and go, and the strange hyena creatures sort of, and they go over and they sort of, they kind of take it and they like go into the back and they start prepping it. And he goes, all right, we'll see what comes out, what works.
Thank you kindly.
Thanks again. I appreciate it.
No problem. Hopefully we'll see you in 15 days.
Gives us some time too.
Why I figure it, we're either going to run into more in 15 days worth of time, or we're going to get paid and we may be close to the price point. But that way it gets in work.
Yeah.
And is started.
I appreciate it. Do you want me to get? I can give you 50 gold as half of what. Are you sure?
It's fine. It came out of the money for the scroll from
okay.
From the shark men. So
the shark men. That's fair.
It's all fair and good.
Okay. All right.
Should.
Then we I think we wanted to go to Gilmore's then next, right?
Yep. I need to ask about
bags,
reagents and that sort of stuff. We'll probably have to find whoever does the leather preparation, the arcane piece for another bag. I can probably manage, but I don't have the skill set to do the preparatory pieces.
Yep, that makes sense. Okay. We head off to Gilmore's.
Head off to Gilmore's. Fantastic.
Making my way.
Incredible. Just getting stuff ready here because you guys are getting on-keg armor. Boy, that's exciting. I think I might have something special planned.
I'm not there and that doesn't matter, but I'm just so happy about everything that just happened. Okay, I'm shutting up now.
Incredible. Give me your own mind. There we go. Oops, that's a little much. Okay. Moving on. Sorry, I gotta. Yeah. Okay. All right. Where are you? Sorry, you guys are going to Gilmore's Glorious Goods.
That's right.
Indeed.
All right. Fantastic. Without issue, you guys are gonna find your way to Gilmore's Glorious Goods. Just a little ways up a couple of streets to the north. You are going to find yourself once more back at the beautifully aesthetic Gilmore's Glorious Goods. You walk in. Oh man, downtime really puts me to work. Give me a second here. I gotta phone Gilmore's Marketplace. Here he is. Gilmore's Glorious Goods, and this is the one Westrunn. You walk within. You walk back into the shop that is filled from top to bottom with strange eccentricities, magic armor, weapons, and whatnots, and of course the half-elf Jerry. Jerry, as usual, looks like he hasn't gotten much sleep, and he sort of walks in with his Van Dyke goatee and his long golden trimmed purple robes, and he goes, "Oh hey everybody, it's welcome back. What can I do for you?"
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've got mostly some questions.
Okay.
Do you have a counter that I can place a couple of things on? They're probably still a little tacky.
Oh yeah, sure. If you're right over there, that's perfectly fine.
And I will place the two Anaheg stomachs up there.
He goes, oh God,
I
sorry, keep going.
I'm of the thought that these can be utilized as the raw material in bags like the one my compatriot bought here the other day. Once it's appropriately cured and
yeah. Oh yeah.
What I don't have is I don't have that particular skill.
Okay.
And I will wrap them back up so they're
Thank you.
perhaps a little less witty.
He puts on a ring and waves his hand, and there's a little like smell of like cinnamon or incense, and then he like points his finger at a couple incense things, and they start lighting, and incense begins to sort of fill the shop, and he takes off the ring and puts it in his pocket. And he goes, okay. Oh God, it burns your eyes a little. You know what I mean? It's not.
It's very heavy, acidic. Yeah, I understand.
Anyway, but anyway, yes. Okay.
I was wondering if you might have a recommendation of somebody here in Westrunn who could help, cure these out. I may be able to handle the enchantment piece once it's prepared. But I don't. We're new in town. I don't have any of the appropriate contacts. You were fantastically helpful. This is part of the outcome from that. I thought I would at least come and ask the question.
Maybe persuasion check. See how much Jerry likes you.
18.
Oh, let's be honest, Jerry loves you. Okay, Jerry says, he sort of like leans over the table and he goes, well, listen, Mr. Ember, sir, Mr. Gilmore, we have many of craftsmen that are in-house, that are personally work for Mr. Gilmore and his glorious goods. So we don't really outsource to partnered, tailors and such. But if you were wanting to make a bag out of these, you would want to find a leather worker. Sure, I could tell you somebody in town. I don't really, but I hear they're pretty good. And he'll write the name of somebody on a sheet of paper. We're gonna see who they are. Right. Okay. Just it's oh god. I gotta think of the names of all these people. He gives you the name of a tailor. No, don't be sorry. That's it's part of it. It's all good. He gives you the name of a tailor by the name of Raoul. Not to worry, he's not a tanner, so smell isn't an issue. But he is a pretty fine leather worker and tailor within the city. He does custom work. Yeah, you should find him on this street. And yeah, if you just head down there, he should probably be able to help you out.
I greatly appreciate your time and expertise. You've been fantastically helpful. Is there anything that we can do for you by recompense?
Let's find out. He says, well, I suppose, if you were wishing to make a magical item out of those components, we could make them for you here in-house if you wanted to.
That's what we're considering, at least for one of them. The other one, I have an idea, but I need to discuss it with somebody.
Oh, okay, very well. Well, that's if you want to send business our way, we're here to. Glorious goods are always for sale, and if you have things that are being made, we'd be happy to do the crafting and manufacturing.
Okay, that's an interesting thing. I mean, could we leave it here in your care until it was done?
Of course, if we were to be manufacturing it, we would hold on to it, and we would present it to you when it is complete.
Okay. It may take just a smidge for us to get completely solvent. We're still working on the project with Honor. It's not quite resolved yet. This was part of that particular problem, but I don't think it's conclusionary by any means.
I see.
The one of them, we wanted to make another bag. What did you call it? A bag of holding. Yes, that's it.
Yes, a bag of holding. We can make those.
Like my compatriot purchased. The other, I'm looking to create like a waterproof bag that kind of accordions a little bit. With fine control over water, you can pull the heat out of it and it will form into a block of ice. And my thought is that if you have a smaller container inside of the one that accordions, because ice expands, you put it in there, and if you run onto, say, a whole deer or something that you're going to reduce for food, but you don't want spoilage, you don't have time to cook it, you could put it on ice like people do in the winter. And that would, a bag like that with give you some ability to do something like that.
I see. How interesting. I hope that goes exceptionally for you, sir. You could see the science of the matter completely went over his head. He's a pretty skilled magic user, but science, that's you can tell he's not quite following.
Well, we'll leave this one for the bag of holding,
Yes,
and
we can
we'll
have that
take
made
this
for you.
one off to Raoul to have him see what he can do about waterproofing it and sundries.
I see. All right, well, I can give you a pricing on the creation of this item.
Okay.
And here with you. A bag of holding, that shouldn't be a creation cost. That would be about, let's see here. We call that probably about 250 gold pieces to have. Well, you brought the materials in, so we could reduce that price actually. We could probably charge you 150 gold, and we can make it in house for you.
Okay. Payable on delivery?
Certainly, sir.
Fantastic.
All right, we'll get right to work. It shouldn't be more than about 2 days to make.
No need to put any sort of spin onto it. We may be occupied in the field for several days.
Oh, that's okay. We can hold it until such a time as you return.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jerry.
No problem, Mr. Ember, sir. Okay, fantastic. Yep, and if you saunter off, we'll head over to Zarvolg, as I want to see what Zarvolg's up to today. So Zarvolg and Fen on town, here in Westrunn. What would you two like to get up to?
Actually, before we leave the tab, we're gonna stay back in the tavern. And is there a bar? We'd like to sidle up to the bar.
Sure.
Are there? I'm guessing it's fairly sparsely populated this early in the morning, or are there a number of people in here?
There's a couple people smattered here and there, but certainly not as packed as, after the workday.
All right, so Zarvolg will pull his hood off, which he doesn't normally do, and kind of relax a little bit. And he's gonna wait for Ulf to pop around, and he's gonna ask for, do you have any meat?
Of course, I always have meat. What would you like?
Nothing special, just something for me and the dog.
Oh, I can just give you some chunks of meat. No issue there. For you and the dog, why don't we call it 6 silver for a decent portion for each of you?
Sounds fair. Yesterday you mentioned fortune tellers. Is that correct?
There's fortune tellers around town if you had a mind to explore that. There's card readers and mages and such. What was that?
Have you been to a fortune teller?
Not myself. I'm a rather busy man. But there are plenty around. There's card readers. If you can afford it, there's wizards, and you could go to any of the temples and see if the clerics would be willing to divine something from the gods. And there's also the Humanor Observatory. They're quasi-religious diviners, but they're mostly into astronomy, which I think is a very fancy word for looking at the stars.
Right. I think I might currently be on the card reader budget. Do you know of a good one?
Sure, I know a good one. Let me think. And he's gonna think for half a second while I roll my dice here and make an identity for your card reader. Ooh, very interesting. Okay. Okay. Hold on a moment. He says, actually, I have someone rather interesting that might be interested in doing a little card reading for you. It's not their primary thing that they do, but I mean, they're a wizard, and they're a pretty important wizard from what I'm on to understand. But she does a little card reading on the side.
Even
Just for
better.
fun.
All right. What's the name?
Her name's Rin. Sometimes she's known as Plain Rider Rin.
Okay. Can you tell me where I might find her?
Oh, I'll tell you, buddy. I'll tell you all about it. You just wait. Let me get that info for you.
Eating meat, feeding fen. Eating meat, feeding fen.
Yeah, we're gonna say that he walks away and he's gonna be like, hey, what do you know? You know what Rin would be today. He says, well, just outside Westrunn is a place called State Rock Tower. That's where you're willing to find her. She has a couple of apprentices there, a couple of assistants. I don't know if she's off today. She's busy. It's a little hard to track her down, but if you want to put your foot in the door, she's always has fun reading cards sometimes.
All right. Might as well head out and see if I can scare her up.
All right. If I might recommend, speak to her assistant, Jecht. He comes in here every now and then. He's a good fellow.
Jecht?
Jecht, yes. Jekt. Jecht.
Got it.
He's a good lad, and he might be able to get you in the door a little quicker.
Jecht it is. All right. I will
Tell him
go.
I sent you.
Will do. Oh, right. All right. Off we go. Like my pup.
Yep,
And I
he's
can look
more than
at
happy.
the State Rock Tower.
State Rock Tower. Oh shit. Okay, give me half a moment here. Just catching up with myself here. Realm Seer. Oh, did I totally fuck up? Half a moment. Okay, so you make your way outside of town. You're going to find State Rock Tower. Nope. You find your way outside of Westrunn, and you do indeed find a rather large, you ask around here and there, but you do indeed find, surrounded by a bit of like a bramble. It's very much like Sauron's tower, but it's definitely not as diabolical looking,
Sure.
nor as tall. In that it, like at the beginning of the movie where it's surrounded by trees and sort of a beautiful rounded hedge. It has a big hedge around it, and it is a large tower that seems to be made of like slate stone, maybe even a little marble. It's a fine wizard's tower.
Right. All right.
Walk up to the door.
Yeah, walked up to the front door, give it a knock.
You're gonna knock. You knock. You wait a moment. The door seems to open its mouth. Or a mouth, I should say, opens on the door itself, just sort of forming really out of nowhere. It says, "State your name and your business."
Love stating my name. I am Zarvolg the Grim. I've been sent from Ulf to speak with Jecht.
Please wait. And you wait for not long, like maybe about a minute. And the door opens, and you see eject exit. You see this individual exit. You see he has, he's actually maybe a little older gentleman, but he's very well dressed. He's wearing sort of like a light blue, sort of almost like a gambeson, but it's not military. But it and like poofy white arms. He's got nice leather shoes. He has red hair, a thick mustache, and has definitely the look of almost like a posh Englishman. And he says, uh, "Good afternoon, Mr. Zarvolg. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. What brings you to the tower today?"
Staying at the Sunkissed Inn, and the proprietor, Ulf, suggested to me that I might come here to see Plains Rider Rin to have my fortune told.
I see. If you'd give me but a moment, sir, I would address the Archmage and see if Rin's available.
Thank you.
The door closes. You wait for not long, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And he comes to the door again. These big stone doors. He says, "Please enter within. Admittedly, Realmseer Ryderin is surprised to have heard that you are aware of his guest, Rin, that is here." And he's sort of like gesturing and inviting you in. He says, "You heard it from the innkeeper that Rin was here."
I did. That Rin may be here.
I see. She does like to pop in and out. She does. Please take a seat. You find yourself in a beautiful, welcoming lobby. You find yourself very much in what could only be described as like a wizard's tower. In many ways, what you might expect from one. I'm going to change the music here for a quick second.
Nice. I've never been to a wizard's tower before.
Can't ever say that again. You find a big roaring fireplace. You never saw a smokestack coming out of the top from a chimney while you're on the exterior, but here within, you do indeed find this lovely fireplace roaring before a table. It's a tea table, and you see already sort of out upon it is a large silver-plated tray. Not plated, but it's a silver platter, which has biscuits, hot pot of tea. You see cups have been scattered here and there, and you find yourself attending tea in this moment. But more than that, you look around, you see shelves full of books, you see beautiful rugs across a hardwood floor. There are orbs set onto bookshelves. There are jars with strange physical implements, sort of jellied fingers and eyeballs here and there. There are the heads of various strange creatures that you've never seen before in all of your life. You're very much entered into an occult sanctuary. But nonetheless an elegant one where tea is already being served. As you sit down, Jekt pours you a cup of tea. And he very much goes through the gestures. He says, "Sugar, sir."
Oh, thank you.
Would you some cream or milk?
No, just straight will be fine. Thank you.
Oh, very well, sir, very well. And you're going to see coming down the stairs. Here she is.
Oh,
Oh, this is much cooler art than what I have.
nice. Slap it on.
In half a moment, I'm going to send you a handout of the individual that you are meeting right now. Where is she? There she is. I just found better art. I'm using it. Come on, work for me. Oh, shit. Hang on. well, I'll begin describing her. Come on. You see this tiefling woman come down the stairs. She is from horn to skin to everything. She is as red as a tiefling can be.
Oh,
She,
yeah, red.
yeah, yeah, she's red. She is wearing a very sort of. She has also like clawed, sort of slightly more clawed fingers. She has a couple of jewels that hang off of sort of the dip in her horns that come back off of her head and down and up into tips. A couple of jewels that hang off here and there. A little older in the face, a middle-aged tiefling woman. But she wears these this dark mage's robe that is more of like a coat that sort of hangs down across the back of her legs. That is leather, buttoned with a high collar. And I'm gonna just give you the handout so you can see the plane rider herself.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, she comes walking down the stairs. She takes off her glasses. And she says, she comes right up to you and she says, "A pleasure to meet you. Zarvolg, was it?"
Yes.
Excellent. I could use the break from my work. You're wanting to do a little card reading, is that it?
I asked an innkeeper about a card reading, and he directed me here. I have to admit, I was not expecting something so grand.
Well, this is actually one of my colleagues' estates. I'm only visiting Westrunn. I wanted to consult him about a rather important matter to do. Well, never mind. It's probably a little beyond what you asked to be here for. But I do like to have a little bit of fun with card reading. I'm a big fan of tarot. Are you a big fan? Would you prefer tarot?
Whatever you're the expert here.
Well, I of course am a fairly powerful wizard, but it is fun to bring things back to the simplicity of things. So I prefer tarot because, well, you can ask the bards if the magic actually exists within them, but no spellcraft required here. I'm gonna go get my tarot set.
Nice. Yes.
She uses a mage hand, and over to what you now notice to be sort of almost like it's like a scholar's traveling case, like what you might have seen in like Harry Potter, where like the third year guy, whatever his name is, Lupin, how he like flicked his wand and this like all the little shelves inside of the actual thing. You see one of those, and a mage hand goes over, opens up the cabinet, and brings a deck of cards over to her hand. He says, "Please sit, have some tea." I must be curious. I am slightly curious. What brings you here today? What is this reading going to be?
I'm on a path towards what I hope is the future that I had in mind. And I mostly just wanted to make sure that I'm on the correct path.
That's fair enough.
I will warn you, though, I'm not a wealthy man.
Oh, that's quite all right. Listen, my friend, I do this for fun. So you've come to the right place because I'm not going to charge you anything.
Oh,
you're doing me a favor, giving me a little break from my studies. So we'll do a little reading.
Much appreciate it.
Yes, of course. No problem at all. I haven't done a reading in a while. You see, all my friends and colleagues, they'll come to me for, well, much more impactful things, much more headaches and such. So this is a little bit of fun for me. I actually picked it up from a friend of mine. Have you ever heard of Seer Gloria Ios?
No, I'm afraid I haven't.
Well, that's quite all right. She's she actually works up in Vasselheim, but she is one of the foremost diviners in all of Exandria. She's a good friend of mine. She taught me about this tarot, and I've been having fun with it ever since. So, anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you. You're on a journey, and you want to know you're on the right path.
Yes.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little 3-card reading, all right? It's going to be about the past, the present, and the future. So we can know about your past, we can know about the current path you're on, and what lies for you in the future.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Excellent. So I'm just going to bring it down here.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to cut the deck. Make sure to sip your tea. We are having tea after all. And you are going to pick which of the cut you prefer. I'd prefer to do a 3-cut myself. So, over the open hand or the cuffed hand or the middle?
Cuffed.
Cuffed hand on top. Good man. Okay, this is your past card, Zarvolg. Let's see what has been going on in your life. Ooh, the 3 of Swords. Here, let me show that to you a little bit more
I
prominently.
see it, yeah.
What do you see when you look into the card, Zarvolg? I'm going to tell you about it in a moment, but I want to hear what you see and what you feel.
War and violence.
Hmm. A fairly receptive individual you are, my friend. After all, Swords is the suit of conflict. In your past, Zarvolg, there has been dark and complex matters. This card is rarely a welcome sight. I imagine that you have struggled much in your past. That there has been lies and betrayal, heartbreak even. That,
Yes.
yes, and perhaps even that you have made decisions that have damaged your heart and your spirit, and you've been trying to mend them, but depending on you, maybe to some level of success or not. But, well, let's check your present and see how we're doing now, why don't we? This is your present card. Ah, a very important card in the deck. This is the Hanged Man.
Okay.
What do you see when you look into the cards, Zarvolg?
Well, I see a bat. He appears to be waiting, right? Preparing for action.
Waiting, preparing for action. Very interesting you say this, especially considering that you're on a journey and you're here looking for things. Maybe indeed you are waiting, much like the Hangman. Now, the Hangman card is part of what is called the Major Arcana part of the deck. These are the most powerful cards in the deck, and the higher the number, the more power it has. Now, the Hanged Man is the card of sacrifice and letting go. Now, many people are very scared to let go, but this card insists that you allow yourself to master non-attachment, that there is sacrifice and perhaps difficulty or painful situations coming up in your life. And you're going to want to resist and struggle through them. But like the Hanged Man, he opens his eyes, he finds stillness, and allows the world to take what it's going to take and leave behind what it's going to give you. So perhaps it's suggesting that right now you ought to be cautious of hanging on to things a little too tightly. Maybe these things that happened to you in the past, perhaps.
All right.
And as for the future, Mr. Zarvolg, oh my goodness, you have an interesting fate about you. The High Priestess, another major arcana card. What do you see when you look into the card?
And it looks very regal, very esteemed.
Esteemed, indeed, indeed. Now, a very interesting card and a very powerful magical card. In fact, it speaks of magic. The High Priestess. The High Priestess is the master of mystery and wisdom and magic. There is power in stillness, and from there she is able to access the realm that passes by others without noticing, a vast world of intuition, dreams, and mystery. She uses silence and non-action to harness this power, and sometimes this card appears to remind you to listen more closely to the voice within. Other times, it decides to look past the obvious and find what's being kept secret or hidden within given situations, to acknowledge the shadows themselves. Now, I'm going to summarize the cards. The first thing I wish to notice is that these are each of them aesthetically very dark cards, Zarvolg. Perhaps you are a man of darkness. There's the High Priestess is in the moonlight of the darkness. The Hangman hangs from the darkness itself, and the Three of Swords seems to juxtapose before a darkened background. Perhaps you are a man who has faced or is going to have a lot of relationship with darkness.
That sounds accurate.
Aren't I good at this?
Yeah.
Now, let us see. So you have faced betrayal, perhaps heartbreak and sorrow in the past, and the Hangman is telling you to, and being a more powerful card is worth listening to, that perhaps it is attachment that is driving you mad, things that you're holding on to, you're not willing to let go. And as for the High Priestess, it's rather interesting. Perhaps you're going to find yourself coming into contact with a powerful psychic being, because the High Priestess is often about mystery and psychic forces. In my line of work, It's often associated with the astral plane, or even the ethereal plane at times. Creatures of psionic power. Perhaps you intend to meet one, or maybe you're going to meet with a powerful seer who is going to divine for you your future. Very interesting.
Well, thank you very much. That's been very informative. I appreciate it.
I give you but this last warning. As your future comes, Zarvolg, I want you to pay attention. If you meet a priest, if you meet someone of divining power, perhaps someone of even psionic power, look out for an individual like this, probably a woman.
Sure.
This person is important to your future. So pay attention if someone like this comes around, someone of great psychic or power or great mystery behind them.
I
Or both.
will. I will. Thank you very much.
Of course, Zarvolg, of course. It has been my pleasure. Is there anything else you wish to ask today?
This has been fantastic, much more than I'd hoped for. So I appreciate your time and your willingness to see me.
Of course, I'm always happy to help out an individual excited by the occult and mystic. Say, tell me, you seem like a man of action. Is that, am I mistaken in this?
No, I would classify myself as such.
Well, nothing seems to be going on here, but my colleague within this tower, his name is Realmseer Eskil Reindorin. He's a good colleague of mine, a very important man. He doesn't have anything going on, but he usually does. Would you do me the kind favor and keep an eye on him? I'm afraid I'm going to be going away for a little while. And, Westrunn's always full of fun things, and the Realmseer always finds himself up to no good. If you find yourself back this way in your journeys in the months or days to come, check in on him. There's always interesting things going about.
Sure, we'll be in town for a short while. We'll be sure to check in on him at least once, possibly more in the meantime.
Excellent. Well, I'll be here for a little while longer. If you or you have friends who wish to have their fortunes told as well, please feel free to come by the tower. I'll be here for the next couple days.
All right. For the tea.
Of course. Well, thank you for being a marvelous guest. And good luck. And remember, watch for the High Priestess. She's very important to your future.
High Priestess, will do. Thank you.
And with that, she will see you to the door personally, and she waves you goodbye, and the doors will close.
All right. I guess I will head back into town and to the tavern.
Fantastic. And you do so. No problem. All right. Let's pop in with, why don't we see how Yvaine's friendly hangout going? You're muted.
I am muted. We're working, right? We're on the case.
Yeah, you're doing important work. Absolutely. Okay.
Right. So.
Meanwhile, back in Westrunn. Eventually, you guys do poke your head in the right door. I gotta close some of my tabs super quick because I have a lot of them open.
No, I feel you. Do what you need to do.
Just so I can.
I get that.
Reorganize my brain. There, we're good. Okay. I'll put this over near Honor. Yep, you wander on through, you chit-chat for a little while longer, and you guys are going to eventually poke your head into the right establishment. The right tavern. And which tavern that will be? I don't wanna. You were right. You find yourself in this. It's not like a shitty tavern. It's not like squalid or poor. It's fairly modest, but it is kind of dim. It's almost like a bit like a coffee house, lit with lots of different candles here and there. And Honor says, "Oh, okay, this is where he." Oh, that's the wrong accent. She goes, "All right, yeah, this is where he is. This is much more his scene. Here, let's grab a seat and sit down." You all sit down, and it definitely seems to be like a sort of performance theater. There's like a little stage. There's some little candles all lit up, and you guys kind of sit down. She is going to order food for you two for the day, so that'll cover your rations for the day. And you guys get like a little plate of food. You get some drinks. She says, "All right, he'll probably be coming on any moment now." And she asks like whatever barmaid. He goes, "Is the entertainer?" And he goes, "Oh, yes. He'll be coming on in a second." He goes, "Okay." There's a little like people start snapping, and you see this bard approach the stage. A bard like you probably have never seen before, Yvaine. You see this. It's a Goliath. You see this.
She's
Six
seen
to
a Goliath. She's seen Goliaths walking around the city, right?
All
Yeah,
around
okay.
town. You guys see Goliaths around town, absolutely. But this is the most interesting Goliath you've probably ever seen. You see, let me give you a little. You see this surprisingly sim Goliath with a very sharp, angular face. His skin has the characteristics, has the characteristic whitish tone of half giants with the sort of dark stripes here and there, dark markings here and there. But he also wears eyeshadow and black lipstick. There seems that sort of contrasts with his paleness. He wears elegant burgundy darks and blues and white clothing with silver trim, puffed sleeves, a cape, and very dark boots. He carries with him, sort of strapped to his hip, a humanoid skull. And he also has a burgundy and gray zither adorned with another skull at its tip. With another skull, and also has silver filigree, and the actual skull itself is about the size of his fist, which is fairly large. I need to change this music entirely. Let me get some different.
Yvaine probably like stops mid-bite with like something in her hand and just kind of like leans towards Honor, but just like totally enraptured by what's going on.
No.
She's never seen anything like this.
Yeah, this is the strangest fellow you've maybe ever seen. These are way too bopping. These musics I'm listening to here.
I feel like, there's probably a bard in town. Like, there's probably someone that plays music, and they all enjoy it, but it ain't, like, it's not this.
Okay, that kind of works.
That's pretty emo.
If I can just get it to work with me here. Okay, I'll just add it all to the game. Oh, everything just froze. Didn't like that. There it is. And that is Innkeeper. Here we go. All right. This Goliath individual begins to pluck on his zither. He says, "It may be misery not to sing at all, and to go silent through the brimming day. It may be misery never to be loved, but deeper griefs that these beset the way. To sing the perfect song, and by a half tone lost the key, there the potent sorrow, there the grief, the pale, sad story of life's tragedy. To have come near to the perfect love, not the hot passion of untempered youth, but that which lies aside its vanity, and gives, for thy thirsting worship, truth. This indeed is to be cursed. For if we mortals love, or if we sing, we count our joy not by what we have, but by what kept us from that perfect thing." And the whole inn goes, "Oh yeah." So it's the snaps. And he stands up and he bows as the person plays maniacally at the piano, and he bows, and he comes off the stage, and a couple people like come up to him, like some other sort of like, dark eyeshadowy kind of people come up to him, and they're like, "Yeah, the way you spoke it meant so much, the catharsis of it, man." He goes, "Indeed, catharsis is important." And Honor kind of like, there's a little wave, and he kind of, excuse me, and the massive Goliath sort of goes, "Yeah, he's he's a friend of mine. We actually worked together on a couple of little jobs here, and his name's Balthazar. His name's Balthazar Bleakskull." She stands up and he goes, "It's good to see you, Honor," and he gives her a hug, and she's tiny in his massive Goliath arms. And she says, "Balthazar, it's..." What's that?
How tall is she?
Oh, she's not tall. She's like 5'4". She's not that tall.
She and Yvaine are stand eye to eye then.
Not including the horns. The horns kind of pop her up a little bit. So maybe more like 5'6", 5'7" with the horns. Yeah, so she says, "I just want to introduce you to my friend. Yvaine, this is Balthazar Bleakskull. He is..." And Balthazar kind of takes over, and he sort of offers a hand to shake your hand, Yvaine. He shakes it, and he says, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Yvaine. I am, as our mutual friend said, I am Balthazar Bleakskull. I am an entertainer and student here in Westrunn, a student of the arts and the performative aspects of life. It is a great honor to meet you. If you are a friend of Honor, you're a friend of mine."
That was transcendent. Thank you for sharing.
You're most kind to do so. It is to say so. I work hard to ensure that my work can give those who are struggling at least some level of catharsis in their everyday life, a catharsis that perhaps one day I will enjoy. Honor gestures for him to sit, and he does so. I'm going to send you guys the handout of Balthazar.
This guy is so cool.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's pretty moody. I love him. Balthazar Bleakskull. There's your handout. On Roll20, of course.
Oh.
He sits down with all of you, and Honor says, "Well, Balthazar, I'm actually here on business. I have me and Yvaine and a number of Yvaine's friends, fellow adventurers. We've been trying to deal with the Plains cow issue in Westrunn." He goes, "Oh, I'm very sorry, Honor. I've heard a bit about what's going on, but I don't have any new information for you." She goes, That's quite all right, Balthazar, but I was wondering if you'd be willing to help sneak us into the College of the Savvy. We found some information regarding some creatures, but we were hoping to sort of expand on what we knew. And the college has a lot of interesting lore in there, and maybe they might be able to help us a little bit. She's gonna roll a persuasion check on her friend. And he goes, "Well, if you think it'll help Honor, I don't see the issue. I'd be happy to see if I can't get you in there. Have you tried Westhall Academy?" Honor says, "I'm thinking about it, but I don't know anyone there very well. It might be a little hard to get in." He says, "Well, I happen to know a couple of scholars. I'm actually a good friend I have a good friend there. If we don't find anything at the College of the Savvy, I'll see about maybe slipping you in the back door." Because that'd be very kind.
Yes, thank you.
And he sort of smiles bleakly at you, Yvaine. A labored smile, such a tragic individual. And he says, "Well, that was my set. If you're all done with your food and your drink, let me know when you're quite ready." and we can head to the College of the Savvies. Just the two of you today. He's like, aye, yeah. He goes, simply say when. I'm going to just get a drink at the bar really quick. Excuse me, ladies. And he'll stand up and he'll find his way over to the bar, string his zephyr across his back, and he'll just go get a drink and shake hands with a couple of the other artists in the room and just chit chat. While you and Honor sort of finish what you're doing, and she says, I don't seem to be able to make friends with just normal people.
I get that. I really get that.
Well, I hope he isn't. He's nice. He's a little moody, but he's a good Goliath.
He's just giggling. It's sort of his thing, though, right? Like, it's like he's really moody, but he's deeply enjoying it. It's like he's enjoying not enjoying it. Am I reading it right?
He's trying to explain it to me too. I don't get it personally, but it sounded, when he was talking, it sounded a lot like what you're saying.
That's marvelous. Not me, but I'm so glad it's out there.
I'm glad you're not too perturbed.
And you're being generally like just deer in the headlights. Should we get the check? Did we? All right, what then we should.
Okay, let's go. You guys pop up. You head over to Balthazar, and you guys head into the streets. The moment you walk out of the tavern, he burns in the daylight and falls into a pile of ash. No, I'm kidding. You guys walk out, and but yeah, the moment you walk out with this very dark individual, he immediately leaves the scene. You guys stick out like sore thumbs, and people just kind of like, oh wow, you guys look like a bunch of, I don't know, scene kid teenagers walking along there.
Oh my god, that's exactly what we look like.
We got the.
It's not a phase, Mom.
Not a phase, Mom. We got the white and red honor wizard. We've got the most tragic bard anyone has ever met, who is completely pale, and Yvaine, who is part drow. So people are like, what's their
the bunny on her head?
The rabbit. You see Happy gets out some like eyeshadow and like dips his paw into it and like rubs it in. And then like the ears sort of flump down.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Perfect. Balthazar's like, your rabbit is looks to be quite beside himself. I love it.
He's quite marvelous, isn't he?
He is. He's very, very unorthodox, very strange for this world, and I can appreciate someone like that. He like looks at Happy and he goes, your name's Happy? Very ironic. I appreciate it. And Happy just like is trying to emulate. And the two of them just like look at each other in tragic contemplation. You guys are gonna wander along.
Take a level in actor.
Take a level in actor. Take proficiency. Take expertise in performance. No, I'm kidding. All right, you guys walk along the College of the Savvy. Without too much issue, you guys are going to find yourself at the College of the Savvy, also known as the College of the White Duke. Let's see here. You see this big, beautiful, miraculous school. It definitely has Gothic styles to it in blazing white marble that definitely give it this sort of um, very theatrical, dramatic design. The windows are actually the actual like window frames and whatnot are black, so it's this big, beautiful like white, gothically styled marble building with sort of blackened windows that give it this sort of like it's both like a happy light, like inspiring, but there's also sort of a darkness within it too. It's this beautiful college of magic. Um, you walk inside. The first thing you see as you walk in is you see this statue. Uh, you see this man wielding a gorgeous basket longsword in his hand, up high over his head, and sort of standing like this performatively. White marble statue of a humanoid, a human man with long, sort of flowing hair and a cape sort of rolling off of his back. The plaque at the bottom says, White Duke, Master Bard, founder of the College of the Savvy. You make your way through, and it's much, much different than the Cobalt Reserve. It's not like a holy place, nor is it a library. You see people with lutes walking along, you see musicians walking along, people sitting in corners with long pieces of rolled parchment, writing with a quill
Oh my
and feather.
god, it's like undergrad.
It's basic, yeah, you're
I was
basically
a
gone to art school.
theater major.
Congratulations, you're at art school. Yeah, you see bards of all kinds, performers. You see people with pipes. There's open garden spaces with sort of open roofed and largely windowed, where you see people like bands performing together, flute, lute, and drum. Other people performing here and there, writing tales and stories, painting with brushes. This is definitely a place of magical study, bardic magic, and Balthazar. Yep, go ahead.
I might need to roll a check to not just randomly stop. Like the way you're describing this, I can't imagine Yvaine not being like, oh, because she's never seen anything like that, and it's marvelous. Like, again, there's probably someone in Terra who's like a low level, like 10-cent bard who plays a lute and maybe a flute, right?
Yeah, or some people who like carve themselves a little flute of stone and are kind of like they play it, yeah, art and whatnot. But these are true performers.
Yeah, not this. Not this.
Not this at all.
So what am I rolling?
To not flip out.
No, to not just randomly stop without saying anything.
Charisma saving throw, let's say. That's the... Sure.
All right. 15.
15? You have a moment of like, as you're like looking around, but it's a little bit more like Harry Potter walking next to Hagrid down Diagon Alley for the first time, where he's like looking around, is amazed and surprised, but is still putting one foot in front of the other. So very much on autopilot with them, but you're walking around and looking at all the bards talking, and some people in the corner saying, "Avast thee who haseth the name," and other people who are writing and scribbling away, and teachers who have rows of bards who are waiting. This says, "The College of the Law is a very, very potent college, for the magical secrets run deep within this architect of magical and theoretical study." Other people are it's wizard school, but like with art and life, and it's and magic flows freely through the hallways, through word and sound. Balthazar says, and people are putting off little charms, little thaumaturgies, prestidigitations. People are producing illusions with the strum of a lute, and magic just flows freely like water through these hallways. Familiars running askant, all manner of things. And Balthazar says, "Welcome to the College of the Savvy."
Oh, wow. That's probably exactly what she says.
Incredible.
Completely overwhelmed.
completely overwhelmed. Very good, very good. She says, well, there's a couple of ways to learn of what you wish to learn of. I have two recommendations. We do have a rather decent stock of literature here that is worth studying through, songs from past bards and such, and interesting tales. Or you might even speak to the actual people here, for the bardic skill is taught best through story. So everyone here knows a story or two, or many more. You choose. Book or bard?
Oh, so, I mean, bard sounds better, but I don't know that I would remember anything because it's so wonderful. I would probably just sit like an idiot. I'm being honest. I'm quite overwhelmed.
That's quite all right. Why don't we start with the books and see if we're anything beyond that. You'll take you and Honor. Honor looks like she's almost hugging her staff. She looks. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of talking here, and she kind of just like trying to stay out of everyone's way. She like walks with you guys.
Oh. I like
She's-
to grab her. I'm like just kind of nudge. I'm like, "You okay? Okay."
Oh yeah, just trying to stay out of everyone's way is all. I'm just a lot of people. But she smiles, and yeah, you guys make your way. I just want to see if you're gonna bump into anybody here. I'm gonna roll a little check. Okay, that's interesting. For half a moment. Okay. Okay, never mind. Anyway, you walk through the halls, and you do come to a rather decent stock of it's mostly scrolls. It's not like full books like in the Cobalt Reserve, but mostly scrolls. And yeah, if you and Honor want to go to work, and Balthazar will be helpful. He kind of just talks and meanders here and there, and like looks at his music. He does some of his own work. He starts writing some of his own tales for entertainment purposes. Go ahead and make me another history check, and she will do the same. Honor roll the next one.
16. Give me another night where I just roll the same thing over and over.
You two go looking for tales, and after about another hour of study, so you've probably been at work for about 4 hours now since you met up with Honor. You come across this bardic tale of a hero long past who spoke of it's something that Honor finds, and she goes, "Here, read this," and the two of you read it together, and it's a tale about an individual who confronted what he calls the Onkeg Queen. It says, basically the tale speaks of this Onkeg Queen. It says, the mightiest of all Onkeg, the strongest and most powerful, like great layer of eggs in great and powerful proportions. How this warrior came into the fight, and their children arose to protect the queen and got out herringly with their life. And it does say that this queen, lived to tell the tale, and you find nothing else. And it says, "Beware those who wander too deep into the forests, for the Onkegs rise to their mother, to their great queen, and will fight and will feed her so that her children may run rampant. Someone ought to slay this great creature, that the world might be destroyed and overrun by her kin." And it's a great bardic tale, and Even Balthazar sort of frowns at it. He says, "The problem with bards, my friends, is that not all of them have conduct or integrity in their work, and embellishment can be used. But if the story is true, it could explain what you've been telling me about."
Back at home, Dad would often talk about how in any really good story, there has to be just a little bit of truth, or else no one will believe it. It's like you start the story on like with a piece of truth, and then the rest is all the magic that you want us to do.
Makes complete sense. Your father was a wise man. Is a wise man. Might be worth looking into.
Okay. We should find out if there's a way to locate signs of a hive or a colony from above ground. If there are any markers that we could look at either going into or immediately above. I don't know if we can find that here, but this is chance. I'm very good at this. I believe Honor found it, so that she addressed that to Honor.
Okay, and Honor is just, oh well, thank you. But Ivy, I mean, we've learned a bunch, but it still doesn't explain why the Uncakes would be coming all the way out here to Westrunn, if they're situated in the Bramblewood. But and then Balthazar will say, "Well, Honor, the Bramblewood is thick with mystery and grim tales. It lies in the shadow of the mountain. That shadow itself, it is a very dark and evil place, and who knows what could be happening within those woods. Perhaps it's affecting the creatures that you mean to speak to right now. Maybe the source of the corruption has been the source of these foul deeds all along. You must do me a favor. In exchange for having brought you here, you must come to me after you have defeated whatever it is, so that I might write this tale myself."
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you, Yvaine.
I write letters to my mum and dad all the time, so I'll just write you a letter too, and that way, not only will I tell you, you'll have something so you don't have to remember, that can, you could go do your bardic magic with her.
Exactly. It's a fine plan. Honor says, "Well, okay. That's all interesting. Well, what do you think, Yvaine? Should we keep searching around, or are there other things you wanted to know about?"
I think this may be enough to. I mean, the group said to go back to meet back at dinner, and it's not dinner exactly. Yes, it's not dinner time yet, so we could potentially try someplace else. I have a very strange idea. You said that you thought that that West Hall Academy would be weird to get into. Do you think someone at the observatory might know?
Says,
Would that be a place worth looking into?
Balthazar will say, "I don't spend much time at the observatory myself. I go into West Hall Academy on occasion, but the observatory is nonetheless interesting, whether you're seeking information or not. To look through their telescope at the stars, there's nothing quite like it, Yvaine."
Oh. Alright. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I just heard something and then I'm just so overwhelmed that I forgot it already. Damn it. Oh. I'm literally trying to work something back. Because, all right, so bring him the story back, but I write the stories, and yes, we have bard stuff. Crap, now I can't remember. Oh yeah, I'd like to find out how to find the hive, but does anybody have a way to get into Westhold?
Balthazar will say, I have a friend of mine there. He's a fellow student. We sometimes exchange information from our different colleges. I bet he could slip us in.
Either that, or find the information and just give us the information, and perhaps we could compensate him for his time. Whichever would be easier.
He's a bit of a mischievous one. I think just the prospect of getting to break the rules might be enough of a payment for him, frankly.
Perfect.
Well, we can always check that out. Maybe we might learn something about the Bramblewood.
That's what I was thinking.
Then let us go. So, Honor and Balthazar and Yvaine will pack up their stuff, and they're going to head over in that direction, in which we're going to travel back to Finch and Ember. And fantastic. Finch and Ember, you guys wanted to go to Raoul's Fine Tailoring and Leatherwork, I believe.
Yes.
That is on my docket.
All right, let's go do it. Yep, you make your way to Raoul's Fine Tailoring and Leatherwork. It's a fairly simple. It's got like a little it's like a metal plated sign that hangs down, and it has both, and it has like a needle and thread and like scissors on it, and it has wrote across it, Raoul's Fine Tailoring and Leatherwork. You walk into the shop, and the place smells thickly of leather, like very, very fresh leather. It's not an unfortunate smell by any means. It's actually quite nice. And you see that there is, it definitely looks to be more of a, like there isn't like clothes on hangers. It's definitely like custom work kind of shop. So you wander in, it's a fairly small shop, but you see, leather workers' tools strung about here and there. You see leather scraps placed to and fro, and you see a couple of pieces of work that are hanging here and there. Suits, like a beautiful suit of leather-studded armor, is sort of on a mannequin over to the right. There is a couple of fine outfits. There is some scholarly robes. And then you, of course, see this man, Raoul, who has his hair sort of pulled back into a knot. He has a couple needles sort of hanging out of his mouth. His fingers are a little pricked here and there, and he's sort of like doing a little seaming. He kind of looks up, takes them out of his mouth, and sort of puts them into a little pincushion. And he says, hello, how can I be of a service? Welcome to my shop. I'm Raoul. What can I do for you?
Pleased to meet you. My name's Ember.
Pleasure to meet you, Ember.
Jerry from Gilmore's directed me this way. I have a project, but I don't know how to accomplish it.
I see.
So let me explain to you what it is that I'm looking for and what I have to work with.
All right.
At which point I will lay out hey, I have a stomach from a giant bug.
Right.
And, I'm looking for something that's leather that I can double as a saddlebag that will, accordion.
Mm-hmm.
So, when the water turns to ice and, increases in size, it doesn't spill out all over the place.
All right.
And sort of defeat the purpose.
Got it. He hears what you're saying. He doesn't entirely understand the science behind it, but he says, well, I understand the concept of, obviously leather keeping temperature differentiations. That makes complete sense to me, but what you're doing is a little more exotic. I've never heard of someone doing, but I wish you the best of luck, and if I can be of assistance, by all means, that's what I'm here for.
Well, that's the piece that I actually need the help with. Is
Okay.
I have unwrapped the cloth briefly and then wrap it back up.
Oh, he doesn't seem to mind. This guy works with leather, so he's, you know.
Um, I've got the stomach um, to 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 make the outer casement, but I also need kind of a waterproof inner sleeve to go with that as sort of a set of saddlebags. But I
Oh, that
don't.
can be done.
My question for you is this something that you can do? And if so, what's the price point?
You want me to make you an oversized water skin, it sounds like, right?
Effectively, yes.
I can do that. That's not a problem at all. And you want to incorporate the stomach into it.
Yes. I'm given to understand that its properties, when appropriately cured and whatnot, make it very viable and strong, which going between water and ice, it'll break stone. So I need something that has that sort of material strength associated with it.
All right. Well, let me see the materials. And he'll take those materials from you and he'll unwrap it, and it smells horrible. It's got a better shelf life than the meat, but still happening. And he's tying it out and he's testing it, and he tries poking a needle through it here and there, nowhere of deep consequence that would ruin it, just to see its toughness level. And he goes, okay, you really have to put something in there. This is a very, yes, the lining of the stomach is very, very tough. It must have been, it smells very acrid. It would need to be cleaned out pretty properly if you were hoping to keep drinking water in it.
Well, the water isn't necessary to drink.
Oh, well, you're freezing, right? You're freezing it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's think here. So here's what I'm going to do, Ember. We're going to do a quick little skill check for you and Raoul. So I want you to make me. I want you to make me a. Do you have any? Do you have any tools? What are your tool proficiencies? Tell me about those.
Just cooking utensils.
Right, just cooking utensils. You're frozen. He's the leather worker, and you're. Okay, so there's gonna be 3 checks here. Raoul is gonna make the leather worker's tools check. That's his job.
Okay.
Your job is going to be, I'm gonna have a cooking tools check from you because it's about sort of preservatives and spacing. So I want an intelligence-based cooking tools check.
Okay.
So it's a proficient intelligence check.
I'll proxy that with investigation. It'll be a 15.
Very nice. That's going to be the only one I ask from you. And Raoul, he rolls a 15 as well, surprisingly. So both of you put your heads together and you think about the creation of this thing. You've thought up most of it conceptually. You talk it through, and you two probably spend a good part of an hour, showing a little diagram and writing it, and you talk him through the science of it. And he says he's heard of similar things and talks about how best to thread and whatever. And in the end, you think you come up with a pretty decent schematic invention that should create this cooler, basically, that you're looking for. Non-magically, but nonetheless functional. And the two of you sort of look at it satisfied in the end. He goes, all right. Okay, I think I can make this. You're providing the materials. I think I can do this. Give me 2 days, and let's call it, and for the leather materials and for the labor, let's call it how about 70 gold pieces?
Okay. I
Okay.
appreciate your expertise.
I appreciate your trust with this most rare material. Leather cooler. I'm gonna just. You guys have put a lot of orders in. Fantastic. And with that, you can leave the stomach with Raoul and the schematic that you two have made, and he's gonna go to work, and he's going to make you your leather saddle cooler.
I think that was a very successful day.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Hopefully, Yvaine and Honor have had equally good success with everything bug related.
Agreed. Yeah, let's go find them.
Okay, fantastic. If that's the end of your Tuesday, let's finish up with, let's get Zarvolg and see what Zarvolg wants to do, and then we'll go to break right after. Zarvolg, what else did you have on the agenda for today?
I don't really need to do anything else today. I was going to head back to the tavern, and Zarvolg is going to spend some time while they're in the city, just kind of hanging around the tavern and trying to pick up, any sort of gossip. And what he's really on the lookout for are kind of shady or tougher types like mercenaries and thieves and kind of darkish looking rangers. He's trying to figure out where that manner of person, might spend their time around town.
Understood. Go ahead and roll me an insight or a persuasion check.
All right, I'm
See
gonna
if
go
you can-
insight.
All right.
Oh no, 6.
6. Man. Oh man.
That's all right. I'll be in town other days.
That's all right. You'll be in town other days. There's a couple of mercenaries here and there. You kind of go over, and whether it is that you're just not, like, I don't know, able to find the right. Maybe you find a couple people to talk to, but they don't have much more to talk to about like their most recent job, and they're like, "Oh yeah, took out we were on one of the farms. They were having wolf problems, so we killed the wolves and got the money." That's a whole story.
Right. Yeah.
So some of those guys, you're like, okay, these guys are fucking stupid, and you like walk away from them. And then the people who seem to be like a little bit more like shady or a little bit like more accomplished, look at their gear and they're like, okay, these guys know what they're doing. They're like, and they kind of just move tables. They just don't seem to really vibe with you, whether it's your charisma, whether it's the fact that you're a scary looking hobgoblin, or just that you didn't find the right ways to talk to them. Unfortunately, you don't seem to make the right impression.
Perfectly fine. I have other plans.
All right. Okay. With that, we're gonna go to a break. Yep, you guys have been working and traveling around Westrunn for about 4 hours now, and we'll come back at around 10 or a little earlier, depending on what everybody's feeling. Finch. We'll get started.
I was gonna say. Me too. Me too. Another food here. Hold on. I know. Hold on.
All right, ready to get going?
Charge.
It's George. All right.
Let's fucking go.
All right, so Zarvolg's hanging out. Ember and Finch are trying to find Yvaine, and Yvaine is going to West Hall Academy. She's having an ultimate academic sources of academic education hop in Westrunn. Incredible. You follow Honor and Balthazar. You follow Honor and Balthazar to West Hall Academy, which is up in the Scholars Ward. As you get there,
Is Happy going to draw attention?
buddy, you guys are all drawing attention. You're a Goliath, a albino tiefling, a drow half elf, and a unicorn bunny. You're drawing attention.
All right.
I have
A
that
goth
background, that far traveler or whatever background.
So yeah, you're drawing even more attention.
Yeah.
Incredible. So people are definitely like looking at you guys as you go by with a look of wow. You've already been past, but once more, you're gonna make your way past the giant observatory, the massive gold gilded telescope observatory that lays just outside the bounds of the massive West Hall Academy. The grounds are huge. It's about as university as you get. Large white marbled grounds that go on for quite a while. Many buildings sectioned off residential meant to go to West Hall Academy, and the massive large central structure that makes up the Academia Hall itself. West Hall Academy lays before. Hell yeah. You see, you guys end up just following Balthazar's lead. He goes up to a number of individuals who come up and shake his hand and say hello to him immediately. Despite his sort of quiet tone, he does exude a level of charisma that people seem to enjoy, and has a couple of friends here and there. he talks with a couple of individuals. I'm just gonna make sure he can kind of get his way, and he does with his expertise. He sort of waits with you all, and he says, "All right, give it a minute. A friend of mine is just. He's going to be on the way soon. Let's just wait under that tree over there. That's usually where he likes to find himself around this time." You guys sort of wait underneath this tree for like 10-15 minutes for a little while. At which point I want Ember and Finch to roll me a... You're looking for Yvaine? Roll me either a insight or investigation check, your choice.
I think both of mine are shit.
How do we do?
17.
Nice.
19.
19. You guys are looking around, and you see a little group that sticks out like a sore thumb, and lo and behold, Yvaine and Honor seem to be standing amongst the most goth, tragic bard, Goliath, that you've ever seen in your entire life. And they're just sort of standing out under a tree, under the shade of one of the trees, near West Hall Academy, just standing around waiting, chatting, perhaps.
I will approach them.
All right. Finch, you...
Yeah, right?
Yep.
Hello. And I'll like say that to Yvaine.
Finch, this is Balthazar.
It's nice to meet you. I'll put my...
He shakes your hand and says, "It's a pleasure to meet you. Good night, Paladin. You shine quite bright in the sunlight, I have to say."
Thank you. I can't say the same for you, but it's a good look. It's a good look on you.
I hope so. Yours matches you and mine matches mine. Okay.
Exactly. We are who we are.
We are indeed who we are. And who we make ourselves. It's good to meet you. He turns and regards Ember, and he says, "I am Balthazar Bleakskull, sir. It's a pleasure to meet you."
I'm Ember Van Zyl. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
A great pleasure. This is the... Oh, we didn't say it. Oh, okay, cool. It says, "Is this the group that you spoke of, Honor?" And Honor says, "Oh, yeah, hey, this is Yvaine's friends, the Aurora Concordant. There was a dog, too. Oh, and a hobgoblin. But they're off somewhere."
Yeah, where is Zar?
In an alleyway
Why
nearby.
does he always sneak all the
Right,
way
right.
down? Like, he always does this.
He really does.
Like, he should leave a note.
He should leave a note.
Balthazar says you could always put a bell on him.
I'm not sure
Give
he
it a
would
shot.
appreciate that.
You hear, "Excuse me," and the group kind of turns to see a gnome. You see this young male gnome. He has long brown hair. Not long brown. He's actually pretty clean cut, sort of wavy brown hair. Fairly thin. He's a little gnome guy. That's all there's really to it, honestly. Maybe a little gap between the two front teeth, just like a tiny, tiny little gap. And he's dressed scholarly, as one would be, and he has a little book under his arm. He goes, "Oh, hey, Balthazar, it's good to see you. You have a lot of friends, huh?" And Balthazar says, "That's right. Everyone, this is my friend Wax." He goes, "Hey, everyone, how's it going? So what can I do for you? What are you doing around here, Balthazar? It's daytime." And Balthazar sort of he goes, "I was wondering if you could help my friends get into West Hall." And he goes, "Yeah?" He goes, "Yeah. would that be all right? We're you see, they're trying to resolve the plains cow issue, and Wax is going to say, I don't know, Balthazar. I mean, I got in a lot of trouble last time. I mean, Headmistress Lendamar hasn't really forgiven me for that one yet. They're kind of keeping an eye on me, and there's a lot of you. I don't really. Okay, fine, let's go.
Oh, okay.
Balthazar just sort of like shrugs and starts following after. He goes, so as you guys are walking, and he's got his book, and he kind of puts his, he kind of sort of like puts his hand, he has a book, and he kind of like puts his hand behind his head as he's walking. Kind of goes,
So now we have a gnome with us.
now you got a gnome with you, a little gnome scholar. He says,
Next to the Goliath.
yeah, you got a Goliath, a gnome, an albino, and then a paladin of Bahamut. Yeah, you guys are.
and then a paladin.
And then a paladin.
Yikes.
And yeah,
The most questionable of them all.
most questionable of them all. It's the Breakfast Club out here.
Right, exactly.
So the gnome kind of says, so what's all your guys' deal? What are you, your adventurers, it looks like? That's, yeah, that's pretty good for you.
There's some ankegs out in the forest, and they're coming into town, and they're taking the plains cows and eating them, and they've eaten a lot of them. So we're trying to solve the problem.
Oh, that's really too bad. It's too bad to hear, but, I mean, you're on the job. That's great to hear. Just here for plains cows, huh? Just, trying to stop some fucking plains cows from getting caught up?
Well, we don't know actually what we're stopping necessarily. We just know that the effect is that we're losing the cows.
Uh-huh. Okay. That's pretty admirable of you guys. So you're all right. All right, just adventurers, doing some adventuring. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. He keeps like looking at Balthazar. Balthazar just kind of keeps looking at him. And they keep walking. He says, all right, do you guys want to sneak into a place of learning? Don't let any professors see you, because none of you look like scholars at all. Not even like a little bit. Balthazar could probably get away with it, but not really at all, because he's really tall, and he's an entertainer, and people know him, and he's been caught before. But the rest of you are also screwed. So don't get caught. If you get caught, I'm probably going to get caught too, and that's not fun. But I owe Balthazar, so you're lucky. Okay, let's go. And he opens like one of the doors, pokes his head through, and he goes, where exactly are we going? Balthazar says, to the library. He goes, oh, okay, fine, the library. What exactly are you looking for? He goes, information on the Bramblewood. He goes, you couldn't have just gone to the, like, I don't know, the Cobalt Reserve or something like that. He goes, they've been to the Cobalt Reserve? Honor goes, we've been to the Cobalt Reserve. He goes, oh, whatever, fine. Sneaks you in. Everything goes fine. Lucky for all of you, which is far less fun than if it goes wrong. You guys just kind of walk through the halls. All of you get a lot of attention. You just keep walking through. You do walk through a number of hallways, but make it to a rather large sanctum of knowledge with a great many books on the walls. For Ember and Finch, this would probably be the largest repository of books and knowledge that you two have ever seen before. Yeah, given your backgrounds, I don't think you would have been to like the Lyceum in Amon or anything like that. So this is probably the most spectacular interior of learned knowledge you have ever seen. And he says, okay, you guys go spread out a little bit. Spread out. You're all very unique looking. You know, you're all very, I'm very, it's good to have like an identity or whatever, but like just spread out a little maybe.
Take Happy off my head and...
Oh God, that's alive? Oh, I thought that was a hat. I don't care, it's fine. Happy still got like the eyeliner. All right, you guys gonna do a little looking. Wax just kind of stands around, looks a little, just keeping an eye out, the little gnome guy. You hear, and no, and I'm gonna have. He goes, so how long are you thinking you guys are gonna stay here for? And Balthazar says, no more than like maybe an hour or two. He goes, can we make it one? Like, even that's a lot. Balthazar's fine, 1 hour. Okay, we all have 1 hour. Pick wisely. So we're gonna go around, pick the subjects you want from West Hall Academy. So, start with Yvaine, since you've been the one in charge of academia today. What are you studying?
Gotta let everyone else go first, because see, if everybody else picks something that ought to be picked, then I could do something frivolous.
Fair. Fair enough. If everyone picks something, and you can like say, hey, Honor, why don't you study this? Or Balthazar, why don't you study
Hey.
this?
Awesome. Well then,
Well, we'll go to Finch and Ember first then.
Yeah.
We'll leave those guys for a minute. Finch, is there anything that you would like to study here in West Hall Academy? For an hour. You got an hour to research a subject.
Research a subject. That's I'm not prepared for that.
I have recommendations.
Go for it.
So,
Yes,
a recommendation for you would be concerning the Shade Barrow. Everything you can find out about all the kinds of undead, something just the Shade Barrow.
Okay. Yes, that makes sense.
Because and Yvaine's probably going to, you know what? No, we need to make it more narrow. Undead.
Undead.
How do you defeat them? What are the different kinds of undead? How do we make sure that when we go to hit them, we hit them?
Hit them? Yeah, like not like before.
Yeah. If there are any particular weaknesses,
Okay.
places to find them. Yeah. So there, I would recommend that.
Right. Then I will study the undead.
Fantastic. So you find yourself here in this sand-colored, stone-walled, and coppered, patina-domed school. An unmistakable landmark here. Full of knowledge, you are going to study the legends of Shade Barrow. Go ahead and make me a history check.
Okay. Don't. Oh, okay. Ooh, an 18. 18.
Ooh. Yeah, you're gonna learn a thing or two. You find this one book that tells some tales of. Ooh, this is a bit of history for you, my friend. Fun. This is fun. Everything's so much fun.
Sit on down. You learn some.
So I'll sit you, learn you some, learn. So you sit down and you begin to learn of the Scattering War. It's a book on the Scattering War, which is essentially a war that lasted for about 32 years, which was known by the bards as the Time of Shrouds. This war spanned from the Cliffkeep Mountains all the way to the Verdant Expanse, with the human colonies spread throughout all through the warring territories. It was fought between King Drassig, who was the tyrant of the time, and the freedom fighters, who were eventually led by one Zan Tal'Dorei, who ended up being a homeless human woman that lived on the streets of Singorns, who eventually elevated herself to be the great hero of the forces of good, so to speak, the rebellion that casted down King Drassig and his children thereafter and established the Republic of Tal'Dorei. We can learn more about that later if you had a desire to do so, but what's interesting is that during the Scattering War, there was a circle of druids known as the Dawn Circle, who erected a shrine and a hedge that was a ritual site for sun worship. It became their tomb after Trist Drassig, the son of the original King Drassig, who arrived and slew them for aiding Zan Tal'Dorei during the Scattering War centuries ago. Ever since Trist Drassig's death, trade guilds of Westrunn laid claim to the unknown lands around Westrunn. And from there, the Dawn Circle's abandoned and treasureless burial tunnels were purchased from the Unions at great cost to the eccentric Westrunnian baron named Thevil Houthis. His obsession with its history led him to be interred there upon his passing, and the tomb was outfitted with protections and supposedly the remnants of his fortunes. The exact location of Shade Barrow has been forgotten and lost to history, but all but Baron Houthis' few surviving grandchildren are claimed to know where the Forbidden Crypt lays. There's no information about who Seville Houthis' grandchildren are, however. That is what you learn.
Okay. There's quite a bit.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of information. Let's see if I can't post some of that for you. Okay. In the Facebook, I will post.
Perfect.
I'm actually going to rephrase the information slightly. Okay. All right, I like this way better. Just rephrase the last little part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is what you learned, Finch. All right, why don't we head to Ember? Ember, you have Repository of West Hall Academy before you. What would you like to learn?
Ember is going to be really simple. He's going to find a chair, slide it as far as he can away from any book or stack of shelves. He's going to sit in the chair very quietly on his hands. I am a imminent danger to this place, and they've been very kind to let me in. I have no desire for anything bad to happen, so I am staying as far away from anything flammable as possible.
All right, my friend, you go, oh no. And out of respect for the location, you just sort of put yourself in the corner. Fantastic.
Mad props.
That's quite honorable.
Nobody puts Ember in the corner.
Okay. Yeah. I think Honor begins to grab a couple books. Balthazar just kind of hangs out. Is there anything that you would like to try and put them to the task to?
I'd ask Anna if she would look into the habits of the Ankeg Queen. How many might we find when we find there? Is there any way above ground? Is there anything to look for above ground that would indicate where the hive was? Is there any way to isolate them? Do they have any weaknesses? Basically, how do we deal with this?
Like a hive. Like if we found a hive.
She goes to work. She goes rereading. Whatever she brings back, she says, I didn't hear any information about any queens. unfortunately. There's nothing documented officially about any queens, just that one story from the College of the Savvy. But I did go and look into some other information to do with sort of like geography and tunneling and all of such. If there were two hunters coming back night after night, Plains cow could probably feed even an onked for a couple days, which means that the colony might have maybe even a dozen onkegs within it. Along those lines, this is all speculatory, by the way, just from what I'm learning. We can expect that there may be ways to the surface, or from the surface into it, but onkegs are also known to leave sort of collapsed tunnels behind them. And what we've found consistently is that the tunnels that they use the most seem to be in the best repair. So if for whatever reason they've stopped hunting around the Bramblewood, maybe their tunnels have collapsed there. So it's very much a maybe, maybe not. Maybe they surface every now and then in hopes of finding more food. But if they're struggling to find food in the Bramblewood, they wouldn't surface to hunt it. Because, you know, what we learned in the Cobalt Reserve is that they go under the ground, and when they feel something up above, then they surface and attack. But if they wouldn't find anything to surface and attack, they wouldn't create holes to surface too, if that makes sense. So it's possible, but unlikely if they're coming all the way over here to hunt. That's sort of what I learned. But if we found it, we could find a way to burrow, we could try and go down. Obviously, I didn't learn much about onkeg colonies because they technically don't really exist. Or at least they're not documented to have existed. Onkegs are usually solitary or pack or pair hunters for the sake of reproducing children and larvae. But that might not be the case if our prediction is correct.
And what makes them different, right? Because that's important. It's not just that they are different and that we've got to deal with them, but what made them different so we can prevent the circumstances.
If there is a colony, we could go there and look firsthand, but as far as I'm seeing, there's nothing documented about what this anomaly we're dealing with.
What?
So that's what she turns up. Is there anything that Balthazar could look into?
The undead. Everything about the undead, starting with the shades, and I'll describe how they behaved. But what drops them? What different kinds are there? What are their habitats?
He says, he goes to work. Let's see what his check is. Yeah, he goes to work. He says, I didn't find too much, unfortunately. Sorry to say. There's some information, sort of preliminary stuff about zombies and skeletons that wake up and ghosts, but nothing truly informative. Just ghost stories mostly. So unfortunately his check did fail. His DC 50, he didn't quite reach the DC that he needed to.
It's okay, we are not always going to be successful.
You guys have been doing pretty damn good though for a DC 15 and all these knowledge checks. What about you, Yvaine?
Yeah. I'm down to two things. You know something? Animals. The most exotic, biggest, baddest, angriest, fucking roaringest beasts.
The most exotic beasts.
And where to find them.
Okay. Make me a history check.
You know what? I'm using this one because you've been good to me tonight. 30-20.
30-20. Okay. You're gonna find a book on dinosaurs. It speaks of peninsulas across the sea, very sort of jungle-esque peninsulas, lost islands and such that speak of great reptilian creatures that dwell there. They speak of a creature known as a Barontosaurus, a huge, a gargantuan creature with a massive long neck and tail that is very dangerous to confront. It speaks of the what is known as the king of the dinosaurs, what has been dubbed Tyrannosaurus Rex by the zoologists. A very large, with the most extraordinarily deadly bite that a beast has ever held sway over. Massive tail, a huge creature, not quite a brontosaurus, but more deadly. You read about the Triceratops, a 3-horn, shield-headed creature that is known for goring and stomping its foes to death, but is a herbivore nonetheless, but has developed very dangerous personal protective stuff, as the ultimate predator, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, is dangerous enough that all other dinosaurs have had to evolve to be able to protect themselves from that one creature. You learn of the Stegosaurus. You learn of the Ankylosaurus. You learn of the Allosaurus. You learn of all of these various creatures, and I all can look over to Yvaine to see like big heart eyes, sort of like Looney Tunesing out of her face. But as you are reading this, Yvaine, your book snaps shut in your face by a mage hand. And you hear, oh fuck. Headmaster, good to see you. You look over and you see wearing very decadent robes. You see a what is she? Old. Oh, I doesn't say. Okay, whatever. She's a human. I'm saying she's a human. You see this beautiful human woman with blonde hair. She has a colleague at her side, but she is down in very, very fine scholarly robes and has a very severe face. She's not looking at you. She's looking at Wax. Max goes, Headmistress Londemar, you're looking as radiant as ever. Oh, that is Honor's voice. He goes, you're looking fantastic. What can I do for you? Says, well, Handeldan, is this your party of individuals that you have brought into the West Hall Academy library? He goes, who? Who are you talking about? He goes, the tragic Goliath who you have brought in here before, for one. He goes, oh, well, yeah, that's my buddy Bal. We were just doing a little, he was helping me with an academic problem. But yeah, it's you got me. I hope that's okay. He's only been, and then he goes, and what of the others? And points to the Paladin of Bahamut, the half-elf druid, and the merchant who has quarantined himself, the fiery merchant who has quarantined himself. I goes, no, I don't know those assholes. I've never met them in my life. They're totally. He goes, well, Handeldan, I know your father, and I know you take after him. And he goes, well, that's a pretty presumptuous thing to say. I would think I take after my mom more. She's far more nicer and respectable, right? He goes, anyway, it's time for them to go. And you will meet me in my office. And he goes, yes. Yes, ma'am. You got it, ma'am. My apologies, ma'am. Won't happen again. He goes, Now. And he goes, okay, sorry. And he looks at all of you and he's like, let's go. Gotta go. Sort of starts gesturing, starts trying to shoo you all out. This gnome starts running around the library, grabbing you all. And he's like, get go. You all follow?
Indeed.
All right, you
Yes.
Yeah, you all follow along, and you all get kicked out of West Hall Academy. And Wax looks.
You're being so nice.
Yeah, you were being very nice. You get the sense that your host has a reputation enough to damn all of you.
Yvaine looks right at Ember and says, I told you I was going to get us kicked out of someplace.
I don't think that it was you.
Balthazar says, "Don't. It's Wax. He's. Don't worry. He has a reputation. Don't blame yourself."
I learned so much.
West
It was
Hall Academy
wonderful.
is quite a fine place, but perhaps in the future we might stick to the Cobalt Reserve. It is a wonderful store, just the same. Anyway, I do have a show to get to this evening. I hope this has been a most beneficial day. It's been a pleasure to meet all of you, Aurora Concordant.
Likewise, sir.
And adieu. And he'll walk on down the street. He says goodbye to Honor, of course. He goes, all right, well, that was a bit of an adventure. I don't get to go into West Hall a lot.
You don't?
Well, no, I'm not a student there. I'm not a student anywhere. I'm a majorate.
Oh yeah, that's... Yeah. It's still fun.
Is there any party members here who consider themselves like Vox Machina fanboys or girls? Or something in between? Yeah, Yvaine. Maybe a history check. Maybe a history check, Yvaine. A little higher DC, but give me a little history check.
I mean, aren't we all?
What'd you get?
16. I only have a +1. It's not like... It's not my best thing. She's only like a little smart. She's fascinated with smart.
I can't give it to you. I'm sorry. That was big. That was a 20 DC for sure. That's super secret knowledge, unfortunately. Not well known knowledge. Not well known knowledge at all.
I'll be back.
Okay. Honor says, well, that was quite a day. Is there anything else we can get up to, or should we go find Zarvolg, or do you all want to take the day? I should probably go check in with the League, but yeah.
Well, I was thinking we should all go meet with Zarvolg, but do you need to go check in with the League first, and then just meet us for supper?
Sure, absolutely.
Alright, I'll see you there.
Where are you all staying?
Oh, the Sun-Kissed Inn and Tavern.
Oh, okay, I won't be long. Just gotta check in with with the League. All right, I'll see you there.
Alright, bye.
Bye, everyone. She sort of walks on down the street.
Yvaine has the most mischievous grin on her face. I'm so close to being able to do something. I'm so close to being able to do something. I'm so close to being able to do something so cool.
Okay.
I love books. Alright, so... No, we should wait. We'll wait until all we're together.
Okay. Quite easily, you guys can all find your way back to the Sun-Kissed Inn. The only thing that you guys would see between the Sun-Kissed Inn and here would be the Black King statue and Lord Mayor's somewhat fortress-like residence. And then you would make it back to the Sun-Kissed Inn without any issue, while still walking past that strange sort of about 40-foot wide staircase that leads down into somewhere. And you make your way back to the Sun-Kissed Inn. And there within you find Zarvolg trying to make friends with mercenaries. Trying.
Yep, here I am.
half want to sit right next to him and say, I've got so many ideas, Zar. Would you like to have a Tyrannosaurus Rex? It's like a giant murder lizard. For
A what?
pet.
A what? Murder lizard?
Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's
a
a
murder
giant
lizard.
murder lizard.
What's giant?
Like, alright, so you remember our friend today, Balthazar? Bigger. And teethier. But with little small hands.
Small hands. Okay. I got a big head, little arms.
It's true. There's a small
Like
arm.
you didn't think this through.
Yes.
I read a book. I know I have ideas. So many ideas. They're just all together.
So I assume you didn't get arrested for prostitution today.
No,
Not this
but
time.
we did get thrown out of the academy.
We did.
Oh, well, fair enough.
Not in the library, although.
Oh, why do we keep getting kicked out of places?
I don't know.
Was your library tour fruitful? Did you learn things?
It was. And I will. Are we like, where are we right now? Like, what is the, let's set the scene here. Because I don't think we're going to be talking about like, there's some stuff we could like speak openly about, but other things we wouldn't just be like, hey, guess what?
You're in the
private dining chambers? Like, you said it was kind of a little posh. Like, would there be a room where we could just kind of have to ourselves?
I don't think it's so posh that there's like private dining areas by any means, but it's certainly a wide enough tavern that you could easily find yourself a table that's separate from enough people you could kind of lean across the table and make it private, you know?
Yeah.
What are we being secretive about?
Not necessarily secretive, but I just think that, you know, there's some things that we wouldn't want to just be like openly talking about, like the Shade Burrow.
Oh,
And I will talk to the group about the information that I read in the library.
oh,
And underscoring about how the location is unknown, but that the descendants may know.
yeah, the location was unknown to me about 12 minutes after we left.
Mm-hmm.
But the grandchildren know, and there are
That's-
grandchildren.
That's true. Yeah, the thing that was tough is that there's no lead on how to locate any of them. If they're still living. So that's something we'd have to think about.
There's a solution to that problem, I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know. Alright, so we know. So Halthus was the grandfather. And we know for certain there are surviving grandchildren.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure we could ask around.
What if they're girls? They wouldn't be Halthus, right? They would have taken their husbands' names, likely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it seems a patriarchal sort of place.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we can start to ask around them.
Alright, so we can have a look at our to-do list. I will convey everything that I was told. Wait, is Honor here?
Not yet.
Okay. I will. We didn't learn much about the undead. I think there's more to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we were successful. Like, I think we should maybe try again sometime.
Mm-hmm.
But we learned about the Shade Barrow, so at least we know what that fuckery is.
Did you talk to? I mean, this is if you're interested in learning about the undead. Wouldn't wouldn't talking with, and Ember will lean in and whisper, necromancer, be an easier way to go?
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, I was going to say a priest, but how would you find? How does one go about finding a necromancer? Like, do they advertise?
Which of those are the kind of folks you advertise for?
Look for folks who spend a lot of time in a graveyard. I don't know.
There's one solution. I would like to offer a separate solution that, like, if that works, great. But if that doesn't work, we could try going to a temple. Like, the whole Bahamut thing screams, I don't like undead. You know, or maybe is there a temple, you know, what are the other temples too? Maybe there's a temple of someone who really doesn't like undead, you know, that would know about different kinds of undead, not like...
History check. Or religion check. Religion check.
Oh, hey.
I mean,
Be a
like,
history or religion check, honestly.
keep that information mostly to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The less the public knew, the safer the public would be. But maybe not.
15.
14?
15.
15. There we go. You guys know about the Wild Arbor, the temple. You were told about the major temples, the Wild Arbor of Melora, the first bastion of Arathis, Bahamut's Rest of Bahamut. But there is one other temple dedicated to a god who abhors the undead, the Raven Queen. Much smaller than the other three, and it's much more avoided than the other three because death is scary. But nonetheless, the Matron of Ravens does hold a temple in this town, and her dogma does abhor the undead and the defiling of the cycle of life and death.
Let's go there. That sounds like the place we should go to learn what are the best ways to beat the undead. There's going to be a cleric there who's going to know. If they don't know, well, maybe they'll know how to find out.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Didn't we already defile one temple to the Matron of Ravens?
Oh yeah, we did.
Actually, they didn't seem to mind so much.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't see.
I didn't want to get in a fight there in the first place. They started it.
That's true.
Yet another place Yvaine's gotten us kicked out of.
Oh shit!
We went back to apologize, and they
We
were
did go
perfectly
back.
We
fine.
did. Yes. Let's not dredge up history now.
Thank you.
Yeah. Commandment of the Matron Ravens. Undeath is an atrocity. Death is too good a punishment for those who prevent the rightful transition of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm thinking those folks might be a real, like, quick place to go. But I'm only saying that because I don't know where to find an. I mean, I wouldn't. There's no reason for Yvaine to know where to find a necromancer.
No.
Like, the best she would know would be to ask Honor.
How would any of you know where to find a necromancer? Well, I'll tell you what. You got anyone in the party here could make a, I guess, a history or arcana check. I'll give either one to learn about necromancy and Tal'Dorei.
That was a 16 on the dice. I was gonna be the same, 17 total.
Nope.
17.
Ember knows squat.
No squat.
I was gonna say
Finch.
9.
So no squat. Yvaine, I gotta say, strangely, the most isolated individual in the entire party, the person who comes from literally a tribe in the fucking northern mountains, who is as isolated from civilization as possible, seems to be the only one who knows anything about Tal'Dorei. as opposed to the two people who lived on Amon and hung out around
Right, who are from
Amon
here?
people,
Right.
and Zarvolg, who's literally traveled Tal'Dorei.
Yvaine's a
Yvaine knows more.
fangirl.
We're just,
I guess so.
Tal'Dorei fangirl.
we're unobservant.
When you don't explore your own backyard, I guess goes back to the old thing there, huh?
That's true.
So essentially how the rule of law works is that the Tal'Dorei Republic creates the rule of law, but they're very closely they work very closely with another, not a governing body, but another faction known as the Arcane Panasophical. The Arcane Panasophical is basically they're the leading experts on magic and the ethical use of magic within Tal'Dorei, and they respect something known as the truth of magic. It is a very, very long myriad of rules pertaining to the use and misuse of magic, and blah 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 blah. But as far as necromancy goes, the study and theoretical practice of necromancy, of course, is perfectly legal. For the sake of academic interest, understanding the undead, and being able to therein fight the undead. But the practice of necromancy, the defiling of corpses, the bringing about of undeath, this is illegal, and this is frowned upon, and necromancers are put in dungeons and thrown away, and they're reported. The Arcane Panasophical tracks them down, captures them, reports them to the Council of Tal'Dorei, and usually get thrown away in jail forever and ever. Because necromancy is bad and defiles the soul. So if you were trying to find a necromancer, you would have to be associated with some real bad motherfuckers. With a 15, with a 15, you're away. You don't know if they still exist. But back when the whole Vecna thing happened way long ago, his followers were known as the Remnants. And these were crazy fucking lunatic necromancer cultists. You could try and talk to, if they still existed in any capacity, you might talk to them, but they're seriously evil dudes. There's no known faction of necromancers or supporters of necromancers, as it is considered very illegal. But if you were looking for a expert in necromancy, theoretically, you could try and speak to maybe the Arcane Panasophical, or other mages.
I would like to start at the Temple of Ravens. Simply because, and this is stupid, but Radiant Light heard it. Didn't like what Finch did at all. And that was a function of the divine. Now, I could be wrong, and there's no reason we shouldn't do both. But if I had to prioritize, I'd suggest we go to the temple first.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Arcane Panasophical here?
What you know of the Arcane Panasophicals is that I gave you roll me another history or arcane check for the Arcane Panasophical itself. I kind of got I ran away with myself a little bit about. I should have just said necromancy is illegal. That's what I should have said, but
This is 16.
Okay, good. That justifies everything I said.
You feel better?
Yeah, I feel much better. Thank you. The Arcane Panasophical, they're the greatest mages across Tal'Dorei. They formed during around the end of the Scattering War. This is more than you're asking for. But there are members here and there, powerful archmages, but they are scattered to and fro. 15, you say?
16.
16. You happen to know... No, that's too much. Never mind. But you know about the Arcane Panasophical. They don't exactly have a base. They're more like a society, if that makes sense. They're like they're a faction in a society, but they don't have like a base of operations. Hey, I'm gonna give you guys the handout for the Arcane Panasophical.
Nice.
You know what? I'm going to give you a couple because you guys have talked enough about certain things. Here's the Chamber of Whitestone. And that's it. That's all I'm giving you. I can give you the League of Miracles.
We've been hanging out with Honor. She would have told us a little bit about them.
You can ask more if you want to know more. You guys don't know much about the Cobalt Soul. I'm going to hold on to that. Yep, that's all. Cool, there's a couple of faction handouts for you.
So, more immediate topic. What did you find out about our bug problem?
Oh,
Oh, yes. And we'll tell them everything.
All right, tell them of the story of the Ankeg Queen from a bardic story, that their behaviors are indeed unusual to their usual digging patterns, which are basically like dig, go up and kill, come bring it back down, eat it, lay eggs. Instead, you guys are doing much more intricate things, and it's also weird that they are hunting so far away from their natural hunting ground, which would have been in the forest, the north. They're traveling very far to eat for some reason.
Oh, but we didn't check out the Bramblewood. We could do that at the Cobalt Reserve if we wanted to, or not. We can decide later. But yeah, that's everything. Basically, it could be nothing or it could be something, and if it is something, we still don't really know what it is, but it could be an Ankeg Queen who would have drones, possibly up to 12-ish, maybe more, planned for like 16 of them. The well-run tunnels are going to be really like nice and tight, and you know, then we could just be nice and tight, wouldn't it? But any of the other ones could come down at any time. I really don't want to fight them underground. I really don't. I think Zal was right about that.
it sounds like if we're going after this queen, we don't have much of a choice.
Can we open up the earth and drop bombs on them?
I don't know
I
if
don't know how to do that, but it seems like a better idea.
I don't know if we can open up 50 to 100 feet of earth.
I don't think Fen digs that quick.
I wonder if Honor could like drop a fireball, like just a big ball of fire. Just like the one that she threw across the yard, but a bigger ball of fire, just a ball of fire. And
Those are
goes...
not that easy to make.
Oh, can you make one?
Not without some very specific pre-work.
I didn't actually think that was a thing. Like, I was just riffing, but yeah, that would be great. So I guess, Zal, what did you do?
What did you do?
Into a wizard tower.
Oh, tell me everything. Where was it? Tell me everything.
Oh, it's just outside the city. There's an old wizard there that I said we would check on once or twice while we were in town. And I met her. She was quite red, tiefling, very red.
So you matched?
Yes, we did match.
Well, as an upside, I'm happy to hear actually that the queen has potentially a number of drones, because that might make the whole plate armor thing much easier to afford.
Oh yes, how did that go with Gilmore?
Gilmore was a separate stop. The armor, we have an open bargain. He priced it out for us if we were paying gold. But knowing that we had more bugs to potentially go and get, I left a deposit down, and if we return with about twice the volume of plates that we brought, he'll, in exchange for the materials, he'll do the armor for us in exchange. So his labor costs and whatnot would come out of the extra materials.
Well, that is great news for the armor. We now have several lines of credit running on this bug situation.
Yeah. So
Yvaine's chasing after another thought that she's almost having.
You're going through your notes pretty feverishly there, Yvaine. What's on your mind?
Light spell, minor illusion, book, burning a page onto a book so that we don't have to worry about taking a whole bunch of notes if we only have one moment or 1 hour to be in a space. But I can't remember what it was that was so important that I find in there, but it was something you were just talking about. Damn it, I hate when my brain does this. Sorry, I'll get back to it.
You'll think of it.
No, seriously, go on. It'll come back to me. Damn it.
All right, so it sounds like we've got the bug situation to handle. Thought a little bit about it last night, and it seems like we have both anecdotal evidence and confirmation that they're hunting at night. So it seems that if we're going to go into the bug tunnels, the best time to do it would be like starting at the break of dawn. It seemed like we were making some decent progress in a relatively short amount of space, just getting into the Briarwood. So if we move quickly from dawn, hopefully we can get to whatever hive colony lair they have before they wake to feed in the evening, and we don't have to run into them in the tunnels.
well, and that's perfectly useful and worthwhile, but we first have to find it and then see if there's a way for us to get in without having to trek, a couple of miles through a 5-foot tunnel, because that's death on a cracker.
Secret tunnel through the mountain.
What's that?
Nothing.
So,
I mean, if they're not, we only found them. We followed however long that tunnel was, and we didn't see one until after dusk, right? Until after the sun had gone down. So, I'd say that it seems like we'd be safe to move at least as far as Red was able to move during the day.
I have
Well,
a couple spells that could help. If you can think of something that would definitely be in their hive, if I can get within 1,000 feet of it, I can pinpoint it. Another spell that may or may not work. I don't know. It's a big maybe, and it might fail, but it could maybe work.
There's a rumble. All your drinks sort of like on the table. Something hits the ground outside. If you look out the window, there is a huge purple cat creature with wings.
Yes.
And there's a moment, and then you see it sort of like lift off into the air with and sort of flies off, and you hear outside, and then the door opens and you see Honor. She sort of waves and walks over to the table.
That is impressive.
Hi, sorry I'm late. Sorry. She sits down. I mean to. Are we talking about the young kegs still? I don't want to intrude.
We are.
Okay.
No, I mean, please, actually, we would love your input as we're trying to put our heads together and figure it out. I figured the thing out that I couldn't track down, but now I can remember it. All right. So, I realize you don't want to spend all of your time in libraries, but they have been pretty useful so far. From what you told us, we need to be able to harvest these carapaces. And I've been good and I've been shit. But what if there was a book that might make it so that I might be better eventually if I had to buy it? Or, check it out. Look, here's what I was thinking. Light can burn, right? So, Finch uses the Finch uses the light spell, and then Ember uses the minor illusion spell and puts it. It's going to burn like the sheet of the paper. It's going to be like the image of the paper, but it's going to be burned into the paper like an etching. And that way, we could have the whole book if we can't find it in time. I'm sorry.
Guys.
That probably won't work.
Are you trying to create photography right now?
Fantasy Xerox machine.
Okay, we need to chill out
Yvaine just
with the new.
invented photography.
We need to get chill out with all these like industrial area inventions you're just coming up with off the top of your heads. Okay, everybody.
Okay, but come on, there's a really interesting usage of these spells.
It is a really interesting use, but that shit will be invented for hundreds of years.
But Percy can invent the gun. Okay.
Come on.
He didn't invent the gun. A demon gave him the gun.
Fair.
If nothing else, having a book that would help me to skin more easily, will help me learn more about what to harvest, right? But I don't want to muck anything up because it sounds like we need to harvest as much as possible. And sometimes things are stinky. And I'm wondering if there's a way to learn to make it not stinky. Like, I don't know that I'll ever become a leather worker, but maybe a good leather worker could tell me, hey, if you did this thing to these parts when you gave them to me, they wouldn't smell like death.
Valid.
There's nothing wrong with the smell of death.
Not when it's in my bag.
That's fair. That's a good idea.
Well, I have a thought on that, and Ember will pick up his glass and he'll set it on the table, slosh it back and forth, and he'll incant over it, and then turn it upside down and shake out just a single solitary massive ice cube. If we had water, I can freeze it in a jacket. And then if it's like stuff during the winter, it should stay frozen for a little while.
What are we freezing? I'm sorry.
Stuff that would
The
smell.
stuff that was going to be stinky?
Oh, yes. That was a great solution for that. What I was also thinking of was potentially improving our profits off the parts that we're selling, right? Like if it's preserved a little bit, maybe we would get more money for them. It's shown it to be quite profitable that we can render these things down for parts. It's good for the environment, and it's not it's the opposite of wasteful. It's being efficient. I think it's good for us. And besides, if there's 6 of these things down there, but we need 4 for the armor. But actually, Zarvolg, you could wear armor, and so could I. We could both wear breastplates. It would be quite the boon to us, actually. So knowing how to harvest these things efficiently, and I don't know if it. Do you see what I'm saying? And yes, the cold thing is an excellent. I mean, because you're brilliant, but I'm going to shut up now.
I could try some armor. I'd have to see how it felt. I've tried on some armor before and I didn't like the way that it felt. I wasn't able to move freely enough.
I didn't know if natural armor made a difference or not.
Yeah, I don't know if it does either.
Nope. I will say breastplate doesn't give disadvantage on stealth checks.
Yeah,
So as far as medium armor goes, the best you can get is half plate, but that does impose disadvantage. Breastplate's next best, but no disadvantage.
All right.
It's got no disadvantage, and druids can wear it because it's not metal.
That's right.
That's why I'm like.
So what, that'd be like a +1 or whatever?
Breastplate gives 14 plus a maximum of 2 AC based on if you have enough dex on your modifier. So what's your modifier, Zarvolg?
+3.
So you would get, if you were wearing breastplate, you would have a 7, or with a breastplate, 16 AC.
Oh.
If you got medium armor master, it would become 17.
Okay, so that's 2 higher than what I currently have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that would be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus,
Like, Yvaine's thinking, I want to get heavy armor. I don't want to have full plate like Finch. But,
cool bug armor. I'm not washing mine first though. I want mine to smell like death.
Oh, why?
But we have to side with you, Zar. No. And what about Fen? He's got a much more developed sense of smell. No. It'd be cruel to him.
Can we make Fen some armor?
Can we make
Oh,
him?
yeah.
Finn's already wearing armor.
Yeah, he does have snake armor on. I'm not sure if his
You
gets
can also
any.
turn him into a murdering lizard. I'm so sorry.
Oh my god. Yes.
I can't do it yet. Soon.
Murder a lizard.
Well, I think the plan for tomorrow is to go back to the briar wood,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
briar tangle wood, whatever it is. It was definitely a B name.
Right.
To the spot where I've left red,
Bramblewood Forest.
Bramblewood.
The Bramblewood.
Definitely a B name.
Do you want to see if there's anything to that place? If any of the rumors of it being are true?
No, I love places that are ooh.
All right, well, let's just go in there.
I don't. You hadn't mentioned any of the woo woo, but
Oh, yeah, I'm
you
sorry.
know, every
Everything
dark
is
forest
apart.
everywhere has woo woo, doesn't it?
Yeah, like me.
Yeah.
All right, well, then we are the
Basically,
woo-woo.
Honor will say, yeah, the Bramblewood's supposed to be like scary and ominous and grim and all of that. I mean, it's got lots of stories.
Do you know any of them?
Yeah, sure. There's a couple. I know that's where Westrunn gets its wood from. They do logging through the Bramblewood, but if you go deep within, it starts to get, from what I hear, dark and tangly, and jagged thorn-barked trees and such like that, and a thick canopy with gnarled roots, and it's supposed to be super, super dark and super spooky forest. But there's lots of tales. Let's see. There's one folk tale that my parents used to tell me when I was a little girl. That there was a young woman who sobs. Hang on, let me get the tale correct. It says there's a tale that there's a heartbroken woman within the Bramblewood who cannot move on to the afterlife because she's heartbroken, and she sobs and cries, and there's tales that nobody knows exactly what happened to her. Some say that she was ravished by some evil barbarians, but all agree that some man did something terrible and horrible to her that broke her heart, and she died. And now you could see this woman sometimes in the Bramblewood, and sobbing and leading men deeper into the Bramblewood, never to be seen again. So it's sort of a childish ghost story, though. No one's really ever said that they've seen this woman. But some people do go missing in the Bramblewood, so I guess, I think it's more just to make sure the kids don't go running off into the forest.
And that sounds like a very good thing.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's
So
always
there
good to
are
make sure your child...
Animals that would look upon them as a food source. It's not evil. It's just,
Well, ghosts,
you know,
undead and ghosts and such, they usually don't eat, I'm pretty sure. If the stories are to be believed.
so, yeah.
Right,
So we're going to meet up at dawn. I give them time to settle down into their snoozing, hit them hour or so after dawn. Is that what we're thinking?
yeah,
Well,
I mean, do we want to? I would say that we want to try. Well, depending on where we enter from, I guess. Basically, we want to try and reach the lair before nighttime. But if you want to travel above ground, try and find the ground above the lair. It probably doesn't matter what time of day we do it, I suppose.
Well, if I might put a little counterpoint in there, because I know you all don't want to go in the tunnels, and I agree, I don't really want to go down there either. But, I mean, Zarvolg, you and Finch made pretty short work of the one that you ended up fighting in the tunnel.
Right.
And they did say there may be did we tell you about the treasure? I thought we told you about the treasure. Apparently
There's
there's treasure, maybe. Yeah.
Treasure?
We heard
Oh
about
yeah, we
that.
read about that. That's right.
Yeah.
They take treasure down and
Yeah.
their victims and whatnot.
The bugs have treasure too.
Well, bugs are just looking for a food source, but they don't eat the gold. They only want the meat. If nothing else, they'd poop it out. Like, it's kind of gross, but, you know, we've got armor to pay for.
Sure.
did you find a, a list of what was in their diet? Specifically, do they consume the entire creature? Or do they leave the bones behind?
See,
Well, they melt them down for easy digestion. I don't imagine they would take all the bones though, because they're, you know, the acid only goes so far. But it's possible. I imagine there would be bits of bone left behind. The marrow, they might eat the marrow, but it's rather tough, and they clearly can't digest anything that isn't softer than a fine goo.
but the bone might make it easy for me to find it.
I was thinking the skulls on those cattle look like they were pretty formidable with the great big horns and all of that. If there was going to be parts left, the skulls are probably the item that's most likely to survive intact.
Skull is good. And you know, if we ever find another one of these onkegs again, I mean, someone could just shoot it with an arrow. We could just trace the arrow. Like paint it red or something and seek out red arrows or something. I don't know.
I mean, you know, if if we find one again, I can follow it to wherever it goes.
Yeah, but hopefully we can maybe ambush them, catch them off guard.
A lot of that is presumptive on knowing where they are, and right now we don't.
Exactly.
So the first step, in my mind, is we go back to the Briarwood, and we either work with your much bigger range, Yvaine, for something that's likely to be left in the lair. The skulls are the best thing that I can think of that may have survived whatever their feeding process is.
Once, I think that only lasts for about 10 minutes. So maybe it would be the sort of thing that once we start finding pieces of bone or whatever.
And that's fine. I mean, I'm happy to continue using red to map back to wherever it is. And we may be able to find an entrance there too. I mean, we have no idea what's there.
There could be, I mean, there really could be another entrance. We don't know that there isn't, and it doesn't hurt to look. So, sounds like we go kill Ankegs in the morning.
Or at least find them, and then
Kill
you
them
know,
the day after.
if we can get a picture of what the location looks like, then we can form a plan, or Zarvolg can form a plan, because he's sort of the combat engineer planner guy.
It is always helpful to know what the battleground's going to look like.
I can't give you a map. I can tell you over there. But if we're going to catch the map, that's all Ember and his talent.
Yeah, I mean, you left the hand out there still, right? We can just pick up
Yeah.
and keep following it.
That was the idea. He's currently a smoky blob at the top of the tunnel.
Sounds fine.
That sounds like a plan.
That does sound like a plan. All right. Well, breakfast or bed, breakfast, off to hunt.
All right, are we wrapping up?
Yeah, I would say that this is probably around the end of the day. Honor's gonna probably say, all right, I'll see y'all there in the morning then. Pack your best spells and good luck. I'll see you there. And she'll kind of, yeah.
If I can get a chance, it might be busier in the tavern now, but at some point, I want to try and ask Ulf about some stuff, but I kind of don't want to do it super publicly. So,
okay, you can message me that quietly if you wish to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do some stuff around the tavern. Is there anything anyone would want to do around the end of the day? She says, I just called my outer notch to come pick me up, so I'll be going in a minute.
Yvaine is going to start making a woven ball,
okay,
about the size of a beach ball, of vines, of sturdy brown vines. And on the inside, it's going to be pretty well woven. So on the inside, it's got this grass in it.
Okay.
And she's going to hand it to Honor. And she said, all right, so sometimes kitties like them, and it gives them the zoomies. So maybe you don't play with it, in the middle of the city.
Oh, yeah, probably for the best. That's right. Wow, thank you. I'll see if it likes it. I mean, it's a construct, but I think it has a nice personality. I worked very hard on him, or them, I don't know. But thank you. I'll see if it likes it. There's another outside. She goes, oh, that's me. All right. Well, it was good seeing you all. Yep. Have a good night, everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bug slaying and all. And she'll sort of leave with a little like goodbye, and she'll head outside, and once more you'll see the fucking astral cat construct fly away.
I didn't hear the cat. I didn't get the cat construct. I didn't realize it wasn't alive. I thought I didn't get that part. The player Carmen missed that.
No, it's okay. It's
Which is
Well, we'll
probably
s-
adorable that Yvaine would have just seen cat and not thought, oh no, she made that. It's not actually a real cat.
It may be a construct, but it might have a personality. You'll find out tomorrow if Honor's Adronach had fun with its new ball. Ow.
Catnip in it.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. Little sneak peek. It does like it because it does have a personality. It is. It's got like an 11 charisma, so it's got a personality. All right. If that's it,
Never have I hoped Lady Kima would be in town so much. Ulf said she was in town sometimes. Because if she's in town, then maybe Elroy's in town.
yeah. Kima, she's not here.
Sorry.
Well, she might be
worked up.
here. So, I don't know. She might be, but I don't.
My
think
mentor.
she'll- Mentor, help me. First Bastion. Where's a curiosity? But yeah, we'll end the session there. Another day complete. We had a big library day. And we'll pick it up next week and officially take the bug hunt to another level.
Serious. Yeah, serious business.
Where does? Because I'm pretty sure she lives in Amon.
Yeah, she does.
I know that Allure did a lot of work in Westrunn immediately after the Conclave wrecked it. Like, I know that she was a big part of building up the reserve, but I don't necessarily know that she has anything to do with it anymore, like in the lore.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure she's in her 70s, by the way.
She's hot.
Kima's 70. Like
So?
she's in her set. No, I'm just saying, just like good for her, you know. Well, she's a halfling too. Halflings live for a while.
Oh yeah, no, that's like nothing to
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, but Allura. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
so what?
No more sad love stories.
They're the heroes.
The
They're
nature of being a
story-
long-lived race and falling in love with a shorter one is that it will be tragic in the end, I
Oh,
think.
Keyleth and Dax. Oh.
Well, they were supposed to be together forever. And
Mm-hmm.
then Percy had to go and get Vasco. So
Mhm.